Now, Hangin with Hester and Hanny with Jacob Hester and Charles Hannegriff. Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hannegriff.
Good afternoon and welcome to Hangin with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, 1130 The Tiger in Shreveport. If you're watching along with us on CST or on our YouTube channel, 104.5 ESPN. Previous stuff, Hanging with Hester and Hanny. Paige, good afternoon, everybody. Charles Hannegriff, Jacob Hester, Josh Ward, Playboy Marty, and Paul O'Neill all here. Just a few minutes ago, LSU announced their game day policies for the 2020 season, the start of the 2020 season. I'm going to give you the highlights, and then we're going to bring in Athletic Director Scott Woodward. So the policy is as follows. A 25% capacity in Tiger Stadium, and this is all parts of Tiger Stadium. This includes the suite levels and the student section. There will be no tailgating in the 2020 season to start. No tailgating on campus. You will be required to wear a mask at all times. Season ticket holders have until Friday to opt out. They have been given the option to donate the money to move their money forward, or to get a refund. Everybody will need a parking pass for the 2020 season. If you have a pass already, great. If you don't, they will be in touch with you, even for free lots on campus. You will be required to have a parking pass. The perimeter of Tiger Stadium will be expanded with additional gates to allow for easier entrance. All the concessions will be prepackaged, although they will allow you to bring in 132-ounce bottle of water, but they're asking you to minimize what you bring. All tickets are mobile and no cash on premises that day for transactions. They will be allowing motorhomes in their normal lot in 412, which is one of the mobile home lots, but no tailgating there. They're asking you to treat that like a hotel room. Those are the high points. It's a 12-page policy, but that's what we'll get started with here today as we bring in Athletic Director Scott Woodward. Scott, good afternoon. How are you?
Good, Charles. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. I want to ask you, with this very lengthy and detailed policy, what the most difficult parts were in putting it together.
Hey, this thing's been a marathon, Charles, and I'm just so excited we're here, in early September talking about playing football and getting, cleats into the grass and doing all the things that we can do to do it. And it came with a lot of work and a lot of dedication for people that really care about the citizens of Louisiana, our fans, and most importantly for me, our kids. And so it's just been really just treacherous every single day, a new challenge to get here. And I'm just pleased that we are here and that we're seeing the finish line, which is the beginning of the season for me, and then going forward. That's how I've really looked at it, kind of philosophically, and with a positive view that, hey, look, they're not going to deter us from playing. We're going to have challenges, but we're going to do it, and it's going to be fun, and Tiger football is going to be back.
Scott, we've lauded the SEC and their leadership for being patient throughout this entire process and giving themselves time to see what happens and to make the best decision off that time they gave themselves. And it seems like that was the idea with LSU as well. Give yourself some time, go up until the last minute that you possibly could to make this decision to have the best numbers out there possible.
Jacob, Commissioner Sankey and I have talked almost every day this entire time, and he has been a steady guiding hand that showed extreme, really practical and good leadership, and I couldn't be more pleased with how he's handled it. Again, with his principles in place, hey, health, safety, and what's good for these student athletes is paramount to him as well as me. And when you go by it and you listen to the experts, and here again, I'm lauding another LSU great and Dr. Katie O'Neill for guiding us and giving us good advice through this, and working with our great staff, Shelley Mullinex and Stephanie Remp and Verge Osbury and everyone involved to get to this point. And we've had a great influence on the conference, Jacob, and that's just to show you how good our people are. We take them for granted, but I just want you to know that they've worked tirelessly and continue to do so to get this thing kicked off.
Scott, let's talk a little bit about what Tiger Stadium will look like. It is increasing its footprint, meaning that there'll be gating that will be expanded. This is going to allow for more gates to kind of facilitate the entrance there. And then there will be a pod system inside the stadium that will embrace social distancing, but will still allow you to be around not just your household, but maybe around people that are in your traveling party.
Yes, Charles, it's really important that we do that and that we do it right. And we're trying to get the fans in a timely fashion, opening the gates up and phasing this so we don't have queues and lines and choke points. Because, like I said, all eyes are going to be on us, and we do not want anything to go awry here. So it's important that we do it right, mask up, definitely have your hand cleanser, and keep social distancing. If you just remember those three things, it'll get us a long way in really going forward to enjoy this season and to get our 10 games in particular our 5 home games at Tiger Stadium.
Scott, is this a policy that's in place for the entire football season, or is this something that it potentially could change in the middle of the year?
As always, Jacob, you and I have talked about this incessantly. The virus is driving this train, and what it does and how it happens is important. And we cannot have anything go bad, or we're going to have to either shrink it or not play in front of fans if we have to pivot. But I'm hoping the opposite happens. I hope that we continue to make progress here and the trends continue to go down, and that we have a potential maybe to expand this thing and to do some things that are positive and going in the right direction for our fans. But it's going to be up to every one of us, every single one of us, to do it right. And if we do that, I think we can have a successful season and we can be positive to expand it.
Scott Woodward is our guest. LSU's policies for game day have been announced. Scott, when it comes to the students, the distribution of those tickets, I understand that you're working with the student government to work on a distribution policy for students. That is correct, and we have not nailed that down yet, and it's important that we do and we get it right. We're working with campus, working with the students, and we're also trying to figure out with the public health officials the best way to do it to keep our students safe and sound during this game. And the band will be in the stadium but will not be on the field, correct? That is correct, and we're still working on how we're going to spread them out. Obviously, there's concerns with, the horn instruments and how we blow and what we do as far as that, because as you well know, there's a lot of, spittle going forth when they play. So we're still working on that, and it is great concern to the public health officials, how that happens. But there are a number of ways we can do it, but they're definitely not going to be on the playing surface for pregame and halftime.
Scott, this might not be something that can be answered right now, but do you know exactly where in the stadium maybe you will have those seatings? I know we've seen some schools that have kind of already put out where fans will be able to sit. Have y'all had that conversation as far as what seating in the stadium will be available?
Yeah, we are, and we're doing that now. And what we're trying to do for our season ticket holders is get them as close to where they currently seat as possible, and get those pods in those areas to where we can socially distance but keep them in those groups. And so it's like putting a jigsaw puzzle together, and we're working hard to do that to accommodate our fans, not only so they can see the game very well, but for their health and safety.
I'm not going to lie to you, Scott. I'm going to miss my seat because you and I had the best seat in the house for last year's championship run. There was nothing better than sitting there and talking, defensive coverages with you on the sideline. So I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to miss that a little bit.
Yeah, it's a good luck charm too, Jake. I mean, damn, we went a long way with it, and I can tell you, I thought about you at the scrimmage Friday, man. We were running that rock good on offense. You would have been proud.
Scott Woodward is our guest. LSU's game day policies announced. Scott, how much of the policy decisions were dependent upon what phase Louisiana was in?
I don't think much, Charles. I mean, obviously there's a lot of that goes into that, but I think we're kind of a unique one-off kind of event. So, mainly it was the public health officials that had a lot of influence. And I just want to thank, the governor and his staff for working with us so closely, because, there's never been a guy who really genuinely cares for the health and safety of his citizens like Governor Edwards. And they've been just really hand in hand with us, working so we could get this thing really tightened up. And I think it's, frankly, the best plan in the Southeastern Conference, and it gives us it gives us the ability to do some things that are that I didn't think we would get to do, but also hey, it's going to be a different thing, and they understand that. They love LSU football, and just like all our citizens love LSU, and it's been a delight to work with them and to get to this point to where, hey, we're playing football.
So when earlier you said that these are the policies to start the season, but that you have the ability to adjust one way or the other as the season goes along. If the phases that the governor announces is not the indicator, what numbers would you be looking at, or what indicators would you be looking at that might cause you to change the policy as the season went along?
Yeah, Charles, great question. They do. It's the same data that goes from phase 2 to phase 3, but there's no, how should I say, quantitative jump points for us from going to phase 2 to phase 3. We're clearly a one-off. So we'll be looking at, obviously the same health numbers and the same statistics that restaurants and businesses are looking at, just to make sure that we can do it safe and right. And I think the most important thing is how we behave in Tiger Stadium. If we feel like we have a safe venue and that we do things right, and that there's no spreading of the disease because of that, I think that's going to be the biggest telltale for us.
Scott, how much will this affect the visiting team as far as their bands and their spirit squads? They're not permitted into Tiger Stadium, correct? And is that going to be a league policy?
Yes. No bands to travel, including Tiger Band, when we go on the road. And it's here again, it's a health and safety issue as well as a limited capacity issue, and it's going to be a league-wide rule.
Scott, when it comes to concessions, we know that everything's going to be prepackaged, including the condiments, but the alcohol policy is still pending. What do we know about whether they'll sell beer in Tiger Stadium?
Yeah, we don't know yet, and we're still discussing that with the proper officials, and that is to be determined.
Scott Woodward, I know it's been a long haul for everybody, but there's so much work went into this to be able to put students and fans in the stadium. It's not going to be the same, of course, but it's not the same for anybody. I think the fact that there's football, and there's football with fans in it is a laudable achievement right now, and I'm sincere when I say that. This at times, I'm sure your worst fears were, hey, we're not going to be able to pull this off.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Charles, and that goes, and I'm going to say it again. It sounds Pollyannish and almost self-serving, but we have such a hard-working, great staff here. Shelley Mullinex, Robert Munson, Burge Osbury, Stephanie Remp, and the unsung hero through all this. I've just been yanking his poor chain nonstop is Brian Broussard. I mean, this guy is like Houdini trying to put a jigsaw puzzle together, and just what I do and what I demand to he and Dan Gaston, and I'm leaving a bunch of people out just to pivot and to work, take my calls in the middle of the night, take my calls early in the morning, weekends, just, hey, look, can we do this? Can we do that? It's just been yeoman's work and still have a lot of work to do. And my only plea to fans and listeners out there, guys, is be patient with us, man. We're not going to get it all right, but we're going to work our asses off and work like hell to have a great product and have Tiger football the way you want it. But just understand that these are trying circumstances, and our staffs are doing the best they can.
Scott Woodward, we appreciate your time. We'll be in touch, I'm sure, as this will be the most interesting football season we've ever been a part of, for sure.
Thanks, guys, for having me. And Jacob, you're going to be in spirit wherever you are, helping me with my craziness on the sideline.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
can't wait till we get back to normal. I appreciate it.
Scott Woodward, a lot of news there to digest, a lot of comments in the Bayou Ford chat. We'll get to a lot of them. We are brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Gotros Outdoor Power, helping you with all your property maintenance needs, and our friends over at Skag. The zero-turn mowers all have the option for 60 months interest-free financing. So if you want the best mower on the market, you want free delivery, you want a parts department that will always be able to take care of your needs, to have it in stock, and the most comfortable ride on the market, you're going to go with Skag. And with their Simply the Brave program, their first responders, all of your medical, all of your police, all of your fire, all of our military, both retired and active, will get a 15% discount on MSRP.
As you know, we always encourage you to go see them in Baton Rouge and Gonzales. In Baton Rouge, it's Airline at Industriaplex. In Gonzales, Airline at 74. But also, if you're listening somewhere outside of the Baton Rouge area, that free delivery applies to you. So if you're listening to us in North Louisiana or throughout Louisiana on CST, you can have that free delivery so you can get that Skag equipment to you for free from Gotros. It's a great service, just one of the many great services you're going to get at Gotros. That's Gotros. We make it easy.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Corval Toyota in Opelousas, you can get into a RAV4 for $3,000 off MSRP. That's right, $3,000 off MSRP. And we have plenty in stock. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town.
Joy to the world, football has come. Mahomes and Watson. That's right, Thursday Night Football. Let's break it down. Off the bench, 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
And we are brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. How you feeling?
I'm glad that we now know what it's going to be like. I'm glad that we know the protocols, we know the number, and we have some information. And I said it throughout the week, throughout the last month. I was glad that LSU was being patient. They weren't rushing to a decision. I know some fans weren't happy about that because they wanted to know, were they going to be allowed to get into Tiger Stadium? And we've kind of we've known for a while what the numbers were probably going to be. But a lot of people assume 20%. You get 25%. I know it doesn't seem like a big deal, but 5% when you're talking about that amount of people, it possibly could make a difference. So I'm glad that we actually know the information. We know the protocol is in place. It's not going to be a year that we are going to talk about glowingly because everybody enjoys their Saturdays in Baton Rouge. I know for me it's going to be a change of pace like it is for a lot of people, but at least we're having football and at least we're having some fans in the stands.
And there were a lot of days where we didn't know if that was going to be possible. Let me go through a few more of the things and some of the common misconceptions about this. First of all, there were 71,000 season ticket holders, roughly 71,000 season ticket holders. About half, in fact, it was a little bit more than half, opted out at the beginning when LSU first gave you the option to take a refund, make a donation, or move your money into the 2021 season. So we're talking about somewhere around 35, a little under 35,000. They're going to give you 2 more days to opt out now that you know. I think there's a common misconception that the corporate guys are going to get all the tickets and the layman is going to get pushed out. I don't see that as happening. The number now, you're going to have a season ticket, okay? Right. And if you have 4 season tickets, you might get 2, and if you have 12, you might get 4. But I think there's going to be a pretty good chance that if you're a season ticket holder, no, not a pretty good chance, an overwhelming chance that you are going to get your tickets, some tickets, and the pod system that was explained to me inside the stadium, it's going to require social distancing. But let's say that we take our wives to the games and we've been sitting next to each other since, Kennedy was in office, right? They're going to allow you to do pods of 4 up to probably 12 of people that you've been sitting by, okay? These are your close personal friends. These are your neighbors. These are, in some cases, people you live with. That is going to, I think, mitigate the idea that it's going to be one person, or 2 people. They're going to allow small pods of people that you know. So I think that helps. I thought for a long time the students might get largely excluded from this, that they may take that number down to as low as 500. Hey, money's money, and there's a budget to balance, and the budget ain't going to balance this year. Right. They didn't do that either. They went to 25%. The student section seats a little over 15,000, so that number is going to be somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000. The student government's going to get involved on how to distribute that. No, you probably won't get to go to every game if you're a student, okay? But you're going to get to go to some. If you're a season ticket holder, chances are you're going to get to go to whatever games you want to. Yeah, you got to wear a mask, okay? Right. I don't like it. You don't like it. I don't know anybody that likes it. Entire pandemic. Show of hands. Anybody that said, man, I love these masks. This is awesome. Nobody.
Playboy okay? Marty, put your hand down.
Yeah, right. Not a single person, okay? The masks suck. But they decided that they were necessary. That's just how that went, okay? I mean, we will throw the biggest damn party you ever seen the day the mask mandate comes down and the social distancing guidelines come down. I mean, it's going to make Mardi Gras look like a sorority social, okay?
I'm with you.
But that day ain't here right now. So you're going to have to wear the mask.
And again, we're not excited about these policies, but they are what they are. And LSU did as much as they could, and a lot of teams are 20%. Again, they got that extra 5%.
The alternative is there's no football or nobody in the stands at all.
Regardless of what happens on the field this season, next season, when September comes around, you're going to have people more excited to go into that stadium than they've ever been before. So it is going to be just, obviously this season, it's not fun. It's not exactly what we wanted, but the most important thing, because in the summertime, Hanny, we all said it. Everybody here in this building right now said the fans is important, but it's on the back burner because we just want to play football. If you just give us football, we're not going to worry about the fans. Well, we got football. And so now we can't backtrack and say, I want it to be this way. We have some fans, which is more than I think we both can agree. In May, fans, I didn't think that there was any chance that fans would be in Tiger Stadium.
The heck with May. What about August on that horrible Sunday where it looked like the entire season was going to be shut down everywhere? When the Big Ten, leaked that information and said, we're going to shut down college football, and the SEC said, the hell you are. Okay, that wasn't a great day until we got the news that the other leagues were going to stand up for themselves. We've long speculated about the amount of people that go to LSU football games for the football and those that go for the party.
Yeah.
Well, let me just tell you this. If you're going for the football and you have tickets this year, by all means go. If you're going for the party, stay home because there ain't one. Okay, there's not going to be tailgating. The team is not going to march down the hill. The band is not going to march down the hill. If you like all of those things that are outside of football, and we all do, it's part of the atmosphere. It's what gets us fired up. It's the fall and it's campus. It's not going to be there. So if your game day routine is park your vehicle and set up the barbecue pit and set up the TV and set up the chairs and set up the tent and cook and eat and drink and drink and drink and then eat a little bit more.
And you have the TV.
And right. You're watching the early game because, it's Vanderbilt. And you take your family over to the hill, okay? And you watch you put your kid on your shoulders and you watch the band march down and the team march down, and then you take them into Tiger Stadium so you can see the band march on the field and hit da da da, and the cannon blasts and sometimes the fireworks and all stuff. If that's your game day, and it is for a lot of people, and once they kick the ball off, it's like, okay, stay home.
Right.
That's not here. Now
the Tiger Walk hurts. I'm not
it does.
No, that
man.
one hurts.
Do you know how many people make it a appointment? Okay, like, hey, listen, if we miss kickoff, that's fine. I'll get there 5 minutes into the first quarter, but we ain't missing the band and the team walk down the hill.
Oh,
I know a lot of people like that.
My family was there every game. They were there every game. My wife, my mom, my dad. They were there every Tiger Walk, and I still enjoy doing it.
Sure, it's a big part of what game day is. Now, if your deal is, listen, I like all that stuff. I like the band. I like the cheerleaders. I like Mike the Tiger. I like tailgating, but I'm really there to watch the football game. Then you're probably going to be fine. You're going to say, hey, listen, there's an avenue for me to be in Tiger Stadium where I've always been in the fall. I'm going to watch 5 SEC football games, and the other things are just not going to be there this year. So that's the best I can put it. They did. I think they did a yeoman's job here. They did what they could. There's an enormous amount of political pressure to shut things down. I mean, if you haven't been watching, you haven't been watching. An enormous amount of pressure to shut things like 50% of restaurants with capacities of 50 to 100 down. This is 25,000 people in a stadium.
Right.
A tremendous amount of pressure to keep schools closed and all of these things, and they got it done to this point. It wasn't easy, and a lot of schools joined them in doing that. So, hey, listen, it is what it is. We're moving forward.
I'll be very curious to see where the seating is in Tiger Stadium because obviously with the capacity, you can put them in a number of different places, and sometimes those day games that sun's leaning on you a little bit. Will they take things like that into factor and try to spread them out as best they can? Is it on one side? Is it throughout the stadium? Because obviously, again, there's a lot of room in there, so that's something I'll be paying attention to. And also, everybody's affected. The sideline's going to look completely different.
Yeah.
There's not going to be all those people on the sideline, including yours truly. There's not going to be as many people in the press box, right? You have to sit 6 feet apart.
Including yours truly.
Yeah, they got to sit 6 feet apart, and you're talking about 25% to what that normally is as well. So it's going to look completely different.
The parking policy to me is what really, if you look at it hard, kind of gives you an overview of what LSU is telling you. If you have a pass, like you've normally had a pass, and there are going to be a lot of lots closed, okay, you may actually, if you've been parking further away, you're going to be able to park closer, but they're going to close some lots. So if you have a pass with your season tickets, then you're fine, although you may be in a different lot than you're accustomed to. But if you come on campus and park for free, By the way, LSU has more free parking on campus than any school in the Southeastern Conference. Did you know that? I didn't know that. Found that out this morning.
I didn't know.
But if you want to park for free on campus, you still have to get a pass, and they will contact you. They will tell you how to get your pass to park in your free lot. If you don't have a pass, you cannot park on campus. I can't make this clear enough. If you do not have a pass, you cannot park on campus. You cannot park in a lot that is that is a pay lot. You cannot park in a lot that is a free lot. You cannot find a parking meter and park there. If you do not, say it with me, if you do not have a pass, you cannot park
Hanny, am I going to see you walking down River Road?
No.
Try to get to the game?
And if you don't
be on the levee,
and if you don't have a pass to park on campus, and you're not going to be able to get one unless you have a ticket.
Right.
If you don't have a pass and you don't have a ticket, they are telling you to stay home. Okay. Can you Uber to a block away and walk on campus if you really want to? But there's nowhere to go. There's no tailgate party to go to. You can't go in the stadium. There's no band to march down the hill. There's no team to march down the hill. If you don't have a ticket, you don't have a parking pass, stay home. I can't put it any plainer than that. It's just what it is. You pile a whole bunch. Look, you get 100,000 people on campus and another 50,000 people maybe that don't have a ticket. That's LSU game day. That's what it's always been. This ain't that. You don't have a ticket. You don't have a parking pass. Stay home. Watch it on TV. All the games are going to be on TV.
There's probably going to be some people that get pretty comfortable with that scenario in their
This
setup.
is what's called collateral damage, and what you're going to have to do to sell season tickets from this point forward. But it is what it is. We'll take a break. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny. Off the Bench, Hangin' with Hester and Hanny, after further review and more, are all live daily on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube channel. Subscribe now to interact with us inside the live chat driven by Bayou Ford.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Mastery Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Wednesday's AFR presented by Pluckers, Saints, Tigers back on the practice field, and Russ Mitchell joins us to look at SEC East win totals. It's all on Wednesday's AFR. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Again, if you're just joining us, LSU announces their ticket policy today, their game day policies today. If you'd like to go back, I think we have our Scott Woodward is up on demand right now, so you can get that on our YouTube page, on our on-demand section, 1045ESPN.com, the YouTube page. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, you can hear what he had to say. But in case you're joining us late, 25% capacity, no tailgating, mask required at all time. Season ticket holders still have until Friday to opt out if they so choose. Students will be getting in at a 25% clip. That distribution will be handled, will be in conjunction with the student government. Everybody on campus needs a parking pass. Should have put that first. That should probably be for everybody. Yeah. That should probably be before the 25%. Everybody needs a parking pass, even if you are parking in a free lot. And to get a pass, you have to have a ticket.
I'm wondering where everyone is going to gather in the amount of numbers that they can, because people love to gather in the fall on Saturdays, and I'm including myself. And I work the games, but I still, the energy of the people. There's going to be places across town that have been affected by this pandemic that are going to have up to the maximum amount of people they can to try to create, because so many people and so many businesses, as we all know, make so much money on those Saturdays in the fall for LSU home games. And my hope is that they still have that ability to make up some of it. You're not going to hit your budget. You're all going to come short, just like all of us, Hanny.
Sure.
We've talked about it on this show. We've talked about it in private. Everybody's coming up short this year. But I hope there's somewhere and some way to at least have it feel a little normal.
I think the question, who in our group lives closest to campus, may come up from time to time. We can tailgate at somebody's house. You know, we get together at somebody's house.
That's you, by the way.
It is me.
You just invited us.
Right.
You just invited us.
That was on purpose. When I bought that house 20 years ago, that was a prime consideration. Was
great location.
Proximity. We had a question about if you can gather around your vehicle in your parking spot with household items, and why can't you do the same around your RV? You can't. I don't know what household items you're talking about, but if tailgating is banned, okay? Now, am I going to tell you that if you pop your trunk and you get a cooler out and you get a drink out of the cooler and you start walking with your drink, I mean, yeah, it's okay. And if you linger a little bit, but if you're thinking you're going to have any kind of tailgating, they're going to break it up. There's a limited amount of lots that they're just not going to allow it. Okay, it's that ship sailed. It's where you are on that. And there are the RVs. Okay, so this was a little bit surprising to me because I thought they may not allow RVs. The RVs are going to be allowed in lot 412, which is one of the normal RV lots. But again, they're going to ask you to use your RV like a hotel room. If you bring out the awning, you bring out the TV, you bring out the chairs, bring out the barbecue pit, no, they don't want that. But this is for, particularly people that feel susceptible to COVID in a hotel environment. They'll bring their RV. They feel safe there. You're talking about people that have come in their RVs to games for years. You can still do that.
I-49 on a Thursday is nothing but RVs.
So you're in your RV. You are by definition social distancing. So that's good. But again, you can't do the outside stuff, but the RV stuff, yeah, you're okay there. But treat it like a hotel room. What else? The concessions. So you can bring a 32-ounce bottle of water into the stadium. Gonna be hot, y'all, for the Mississippi State game. So you want to bring your water. Bring your water. The concessions are going to be prepackaged. They may still sell beer. That if you miss that, that's up in the air. They're still working through that. They are not going to have temperature checks at the gates, and this is something I get asked about a lot. So why aren't they having temperature checks at the gate? Well, imagine going to a game at 2:30 in the afternoon in September, and you've been out in the sun for a little while. They're concerned about the accuracy of those readings. So. Right. They feel like it could be counterproductive, and for the moment, they're not going to require you to have a temperature check. What can you bring into the stadium? Well, they're asking you to limit what you bring into the stadium. You bring a bottle of water, okay, and your clear bags are still going to be allowed, but understand that they can't search them, okay, the way they usually search them. So it's going to take longer. All right, they're going to have to. I don't know what the procedure is, poking a stick or around your bag or whatever. You still got to go through security, but they're asking you to limit what you bring, even if it's in a clear bag. Just if you're looking for a way around policies, okay, and can I still get in with this? Listen, they're going to work with you, but your cooperation is appreciated. Okay, if you can get by without it, I'm not telling you don't bring a jacket in November. Okay, I'm not telling you don't bring a bottle of water in September, but be reasonable. If you want to watch football. No, but this is not what anybody wanted. You're not being punished in any way. If you don't feel like you can adhere to all these things, watch the game on TV.
I'll be very curious too, and I asked Scott this: if everything improves, if we're deep into, let's say we're in the middle of November, and we're in phase 3, and everything is going well, do we put 50,000 people in Tiger Stadium, or will they say, you know what, 25's worked right now, 26 and some changes worked right now, even though the numbers are better, we don't want to have an outbreak, and they keep everything the same? Because that's the question that I get asked around town probably the most is, what if we're doing well, and what if we're in phase 3, and what if? I think you probably still say close to that number.
I don't know that phase 3 matters, and I did for a long time. I asked the question specifically if the phases mattered to them, and he said not really, and that was a little bit surprising to me. I thought that the governor might have played a bigger role in this, but he said that there were no quantitative jump points to move. In other words, if you get to phase 3, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're increasing the capacity of Tiger Stadium. If they stay in phase 2, it doesn't mean that at some point they have to decrease. There's factors that they're going to, the health numbers that they're looking at, or what they're going to look at, but it's not necessarily going to be dictated by phase. The LHSAA today said, they had their executive committee meeting this morning. We're going to get to that topic in a little bit, but last week they said, listen, phase 2, phase 3, whatever, we're going on October the 8th. They okayed contact practices this morning, their executive council, which doesn't mean that down in New Orleans that they're going to be able to do that, because the mayor there has said, Okay, so, it's different in different parts of the state for that. I don't know what that means for the Superdome versus Tiger Stadium. We know the Saints are playing on Sunday. Ain't gonna be nobody in the Superdome. Saints are playing the day after LSU plays They're playing the Packers the day after LSU plays Mississippi State. They haven't said for sure, but I would be surprised right now. Wouldn't be surprised at all if there's nobody in the Superdome that day.
Yeah. I'm all for being diverse in what you do. You don't want to just follow somebody because that's what, that's the way it's always been. But the more 2020 goes on, can we get some uniformity?
No.
Can we get something that actually
hard no?
Can we get some?
No. Hard no. A hard no on uniformity. Absolutely not.
Nobody knows what in the world. And I'm talking about I'm covering literally everything. I'm talking about transfer waivers. I'm talking about capacity. I'm talking about who plays football, who doesn't, who does this amount of tests, who doesn't do this, who's playing who. Good God.
Hard no. 6 months worth of hard no. Local, state, national officials, school officials.
We got schools in Baton Rouge. Some are going 5 days a week. Some are going 2 days a week. Some aren't going at all in the same city.
Yeah.
Uniformity. Let's go.
Is there a difference in the mayor of Baton Rouge and the mayor of New Orleans? Okay. The policies therein. Okay. Look no further than high school football. Playing here, ain't playing there. Look at Tiger Stadium. 26th of September, God willing, we're all still here on the 26th of September. They're going to put 25,000 butts in the seats. The next day in the Superdome, 75 miles down the road, ain't going to be a soul. So hard no to your question.
But we had Chris Doring on yesterday, and he said his son played a high school football game. Didn't look like there was any capacity rules.
That's in Florida, Jack.
I mean, it's just all over the place.
Governor of Florida, governor of New York, quite different. Governor of California, governor of Texas, quite different. Uniformity?
Yeah, Newsom's never going to be confused with the governor of Texas.
Hard no.
You're right.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All right, we're brought to you by Richard Honda every single day, the title sponsor of our show here. You can find them at 13413 Millville Greens Boulevard in Baton Rouge. That's I-12 and Millville. They got over 700 new and pre-owned vehicles priced to move today. Go check out the full fleet. Yesterday, I told you about that full-size SUV Pilot, which seats 8. Plenty of room for the Hesters. We've also enjoyed the Odyssey minivan. This thing is perfect for carpool. Both doors slide open. You don't have to worry about the kids jumping over the seat. You don't have to worry about how hard it is for them to get out of carpool. It's really set up for success for families. You've got the DVD players. You got the entertainment there. You've got a vacuum in the back of this thing. And if you've got small children, you know exactly why that is needed in your car. But no matter where your lifestyle is, no matter what your family needs are, they've got you covered with cars, hybrids, those mid-size SUVs. I always tell you about that full-size SUV, the Odyssey minivan. Don't forget the Ridgeline truck. You can find all those as well on richardshonda.com. That's Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Here at the Big Squeezy, we continue to serve the Baton Rouge and Southeast Louisiana areas during these troubling times. We are dedicated to providing you healthy food items to help you live your best life. From our cold-pressed juices to our delicious smoothies, let the Big Squeezy keep you going. Stay active, stay happy, and let us help you stay healthy. Visit us at our locations and also inside of Alexander's and Mathern's grocery stores or online at thebigsqueezy.com.
Join us for a Wednesday edition of Game Time with Jimmy Ott and Ben Mintz. The guys are live from Snow's Seafood and Steak, getting you ready for the first weekend of the NFL season. Tune in from 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
And we're brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Along with Jacob Hester, I'm Charles Hanagriff. Billy Embody will be with us in the second hour today. We'll talk recruiting with him. It was a big recruiting weekend this past weekend for LSU football, although it was not an official visit weekend for LSU football.
What a bizarre world. I mean, everything we've talked about today with Death Valley and the way it's going to look in the fall, we had one of the biggest recruiting weekends in the last 20 years in LSU history, with all the people that were here in Baton Rouge, and it wasn't official. It's a dead period. And you had all of these committed guys and guys LSU's hoping they soon commit. They got together and they created this recruiting weekend, and just a bizarre world that we live in right now.
Truer words have never been spoken, but I'm most encouraged that they organized it themselves. Get me to a yes.
Yeah.
I want to go to the campus. Come on, let's go.
I actually somewhat think it's a positive thing, because
I think it's a very positive thing.
Who are you going to listen to? And the coaches can give you the spiel, and it can be fantastic, and you want to know where you fit in. But when your peers and guys that you've grown up on the circuit with, and the 7-on-7s and all the open Nike Open stuff, right? They're committed, and they're saying, this is where you need to be. You need to come here, and you see it. That can be very impactful.
We'll talk with Billy Embody about that here in about 20 minutes or so. Kind of wrap up on the policy, and then we'll move on. And again, if you want to go back and listen to Scott Woodward's interview, you can do that on our YouTube page, Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 1045ESPN.com on demand. The policy has been posted at LSUsports.net. You can read it. It's about 10, 12 pages long. So you want the highlights, you can listen to Scott's interview. Anything surprise you? And when you read the whole thing, I got the whole thing this morning. We knew it was coming down today or tomorrow. So when we got it this morning, we got it about 30 minutes or so before air. Anything surprise you?
More people than I thought. I thought it would be 20%. You got 25%, so a little bit more. And I wasn't sure about the tailgating. I thought there would be small amounts, but I thought it would be hard to police small amounts. So if you did small amounts, it would be pretty difficult to keep up with what numbers you're at. And I think they looked at that and said, you know what, it pains us. And truly, it pains us because tailgating is LSU. We're going to go ahead and not have it this year. And when Florida State decided to have it, I know a lot of LSU fans thought, well, if anybody's going to have it, it's going to be LSU. But LSU tailgating looks different than Florida State tailgating. So those two things surprised me.
The student number surprised me.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 students. And the numbers that they're going to pay for that pale in comparison to what you could get from a regular season ticket holder or a donor or whoever. And it would have been real easy for them to say, you know what, guys, we're 8 figures in the hole this year.
Yeah.
8 figures covers an awful lot of territory. And I don't know where that number is going to land, but it's going to be in red ink. I know that for sure. We're sorry. We're going to take these 3,000 tickets and we're going to give them to people who can pay for them. And I know you're a student and I know this is part of the deal, but hey, man, COVID. And said, look, we're going to ease the financial burden just a little bit more, and we're taking your tickets. Sorry, see you next year. They didn't do that.
Yep.
And I'm pleasantly surprised. It's the right thing to do. But I know it was hard because the athletic director could have balanced his budget or gotten a little bit closer to a reasonable budget by saying, guys, we're sorry. And there wouldn't have been a thing the students could have done about it. He didn't do that. Take a break. Be back on the other side. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Your Honda needs some TLC, and Richards Honda is the smart place to get it. With oil changes at just $39. And with so many service bays, you'll be in and out super fast. Schedule your appointment today at richardshonda.com.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Do you know someone who sets a good example for all of us to follow? Someone who, without being asked, shows leadership, selflessness, and service to their community? We believe that's the definition of a good citizen, and so does Citizens Bank and Trust.
So, if you know someone that sounds like what Jordy was just describing, nominate them to be your good citizen, and they'll have a chance to win $500 from Citizens Bank and Trust. Plus, we'll mention him right here on the show. So go to citizensbankandtrust.com for more details and nominate your good citizen.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Do you know the proper way to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in your office? We do. We're Janneking, a leader in the cleaning industry for over 30 years, and we've developed comprehensive programs to address proper cleaning and disinfection. We have experience in applying disinfecting programs in hospitals, office buildings, schools, and other venues. Now we're ready to help and able to assist customers that need disinfecting services.
The king of clean.
Hand Injury Lawyers. Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Hour number 2, Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. If you're watching along with us on CST or on our YouTube channel, 104.5 ESPN, please go subscribe. Thank you very much for being with us this afternoon. If you want to go back, again, we spent the whole hour on it. If you missed it, there are a couple different ways you can get the ticket policy and all the things therein. You can go to lsusports.net. There's details galore on this thing, or you can go back and listen to our interview with Scott Woodward from the top of the show. But we're going to move on, and what we're going to move on with is Billy Donovan, and this was a little bit of a surprise to me. When we did Coach of the Year candidates, you were bullish on Billy Donovan as somebody who would have gotten your vote, and you can explain why. I know, but explain why.
So I thought this was a team that basically just gave up, and they were going to rebuild. You get rid of Paul George, you trade Westbrook in back-to-back years, right? And you really just try to get as many draft picks as you can. You get a bad Chris Paul contract, and instead of just tanking, and instead of just being a bad basketball team, and instead of just releasing Chris Paul and absorbing all that money or finding a trade partner, Billy Donovan said, you know what? We're going to take what we have. We're going to play this brand of basketball, and we're going to be a hell of a basketball team. And that's what they were. They finished 44-28 on the year. They had a hell of a series with the Rockets. In fact, had many chances to win said series, and I thought he did just a fantastic job of taking a situation where ownership was ready to throw the towel in, and he made it not only like a successful for what they had, but no, in any year, a successful season. I thought it was a hell of a job, and I think this is a guy that obviously has done it on multiple levels now. I think he understands young basketball players being in college for as long as he was, and I think he gained a lot of respect from guys like Chris Paul and Steven Adams, being able to deal with veteran players the way he did in their current situation. I've always thought a lot of Billy Donovan. Multiple NBA teams wanted him when he was at Florida. In fact, we remember basically agreed to be the Magic coach and then reneged on that. And so when you look at his complete resume, the totality of it, I think it's really impressive. And I think there's things that the Pelicans could point to say this would help our franchise win basketball games. And I think the biggest part is having those interactions with the young basketball players, being at Florida, knowing the AAU circuit, and knowing how basketball is played today. I think that goes a long way.
He never got to coach past the first year, the team that he went there to coach. He was as hot a coaching candidate as there was. He was 50 years old. He had won 2 national championships. He had played for Patino. He could have had his pick of jobs, and he waited for the right one. And he got it in Oklahoma City, and they had such a core there that he thought, well, I can win a championship with that group. And had they stayed together, he might have been right. That first team that he had lost in the conference finals. They might have been ready to take that next step, except they actually had they had Golden State beat. Okay, they had every opportunity 3 different times to win that series, and then Durant bolted. And since then, the organization has been in flux. They lost Russell Westbrook. They brought in Paul George. They lost Paul George. They had to make that trade that brought in the Chris Paul contract, and Paul had a really, really strong year. They're reaping the benefits from that trade already with some of the players that they got, especially Shai Gilgeous. But the future of the Thunder is in those draft picks that they're going to get from the Clippers, much like the future of the Pelicans is in those draft choices they're going to get from the Lakers. So it surprised me a little bit. If he was going to bolt, he would have bolted by now. Made the playoffs every year, but after that first year, they never got out of the first round. Why? Because they were just a little bit short. But he won 61% of his regular season games. So the question is now is, what is Billy Donovan at 55, still a very young man, who's got his pick of jobs at the college level if he wants to go back, but I'm told he doesn't.
Right.
Or what NBA job makes sense for him? The Bulls job is still open. The Pacers job is still open. The 76ers job is still open. And, of course, the Pelicans job is open. Do any of those make sense for Billy Donovan?
So if every job that was open was still open, I think that you're talking about the Knicks and Nets probably being likely because of his ties to the state of New York, because he played for the Knicks. Those jobs, are not available. So that takes those two teams off the market. When you look at Philadelphia, the region, and kind of what he's familiar with, I'm sure that plays. But also, he spent a lot of time in the South now. He spent a lot of time at Florida. He spent a lot of time at Oklahoma City. So I think you can kind of throw region out of it right now at this point. And it's what team is set up best for success right now. It's kind of the same conversation that we've been having. I'll be honest with you. I know the Sixers have a lot of talented players. I wouldn't touch that mess. I wouldn't touch it. I think there's too many personalities. I think there's holes in what they try to do as a basketball team. I think that situation is closer to a full blow up than it is contending for a championship. And so now we're talking about Indiana. You're talking about New Orleans, and both rosters, I think, are pretty set up to last for the next 4 or 5 years. I think there's some young basketball players that you could really grow as a coach, and you could be there for a while, and the stars aren't going to bolt because they're under contract and because you don't have a situation where you've got a big three and they can't get it done, so they want to go elsewhere. So I think both jobs are intriguing, and I'll be the front runner of let's get Billy Donovan to New Orleans.
What I've come to understand in the NBA is when a coach gets hired, it's almost always because there was some driving force in the organization that wanted him. Owner, general manager, or increasingly player. Steve Nash got the job in Brooklyn. Why? Because Kevin Durant wanted him. You can stop right there. I don't need to see resume. I don't need to see circumstance. I don't need to see salary. My superstar wants this guy. That's who we're hiring.
Yep.
Happens all the time. Now, in New York, I think it was more the owner with the Knicks because they have the worst owner in professional sports.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, Playboy Marty, I'm gonna give Sarver a break there because Dolan is worse. So I would ask, who is the driving force behind wanting a Billy Donovan? And I don't know that there's one in Philadelphia, Indiana, or New Orleans, or Chicago, the 4 jobs that are open. I'm a little bit surprised that the Sixers haven't already hired Tyronn Lue.
Yeah.
I thought that would have happened by now. I think that New Orleans is waiting on at least one team to be eliminated from the playoffs to talk to people to gauge their interest before they move forward. It frightens me, frankly, that guy might be Mike D'Antoni because I think that would be a bad fit, but we'll get into that later. I don't know who that guy is for Billy Donovan with any of these clubs. Maybe there is somebody that I don't know about. Maybe there is a star player on one of these teams that could get it done, but I don't know who that is right now. It seems more likely to me that Billy Donovan would take next year off with a lot of uncertainty with not just these teams, but with the season itself, and say, you know what, I'm going to take a step back here. I'm going to sit a year, and I'll see you guys for the 21-22 season. Frankly, that's what I expect to happen. Could be completely wrong. I certainly wouldn't have been able to tell you that Steve Nash was going to be the coach of the Brooklyn Nets a week ago, and that one came from out of left field. So for all I know, Billy Donovan is looking at property in Indianapolis right now. I couldn't tell you, but just my read on the situation is here's this qualified coach that is going to does not have to take a job. The next job that Billy Donovan is offered won't be the last one, whether it be at the college level or at the pro level. And I think his future is at the pro level. I don't think he has any. The people I've talked to that know him suggest that he has no desire to go back and coach college basketball, that he wants to continue in the NBA. I think this one sets up to probably wait a year.
It'd be very tough to go back to college. And I know his college coach, Rick Pitino, did it. but that's not something you typically see. Once you get a taste of dealing with professionals, you don't have to recruit.
Right there.
Yeah.
Right there.
That's it.
You don't have to.
You actually have an off season.
Recruit. Yeah.
College coaches don't.
No. But it would be interesting if he were interested. I would certainly, and if the Pelicans decide that that's a direction that they want to go, I'm impressed with just about everything with Billy Donovan. There's nothing about his resume that I don't like or that can't be explained away. I can explain some of these first-round losses with Oklahoma City. I've seen him get a team to the conference finals and on the cusp of getting into the finals his first year in the league. So give him some talent, and he's going to be fine. I think he's been a good developmental coach. I think he's done a good job with the talent that he's had there. And you're right, this was an impossible situation. And what he did at Florida, that was not a basketball school. That was not a place where, hey, man, look, just pump some money into it and you'll win.
Yeah.
Not the case, because there's about 8 or 9 schools in the Southeastern Conference that are the same when it comes to the basketball football landscape. Florida, Alabama, Auburn, LSU, Tennessee, Georgia. They're all football schools.
Right.
Where they have had some basketball success, but it's far from guaranteed. They've gone from, in the case of an LSU or an Auburn under Bruce Pearl or Georgia back in the day when Dominique, where they made it all the way to the Final Four, but the level of success has not been able to be sustained. He was able to sustain that at Florida. Ain't a guarantee, okay? It doesn't automatically happen.
And the perfect example is right now. I think a lot of Michael White. Michael White was the head coach at Louisiana Tech. When I was doing radio up in North Louisiana, we had him on a bunch. Very impressive guy. Had that basketball team playing with the big boys. And I honestly thought once he got to Florida, it was going to be a home run. It has not been that. There's been ups and downs. Now you have your best player transferring. It's been on the court, off the court. That's not an easy job. It's not an easy job just to show up. And they won back-to-back championships. It must be a program. No, a lot of that's because of Billy Donovan and the work that he put in. I would say 95% of it is what he put in to that job and made them a basketball power. I mean, there for a stretch, when I was in school, Florida was a basketball power. And there's still players playing in the NBA today from those teams. And I give a lot of that credit, mostly all of it, to Billy Donovan.
It's hard to coach basketball at a football school.
It is.
I'll give you another good example of what I'm talking about. Anthony Grant was an up-and-coming coach at VCU. In fact, when Donovan looked like he was going to leave for the Magic, Florida, with Jeremy Foley, was set to hire Anthony Grant. Yeah. They had everything done. He had coached under Donovan. He was coming back to Gainesville. He was going to be the coach. Didn't work out. Donovan turned around, stayed with Florida, and Grant eventually got the job at Alabama. I thought it was a great hire. He was somebody that I had on my radar at LSU that I would have loved to have had here. And when he went to Alabama, I was like, damn, good hire. And it was a disaster. It was an absolute disaster. He got almost nothing done there. Then he got the job at Dayton. He might have had a Final Four team this year. Okay? Yeah. Good coach at VCU. Might have done well at Florida. We'll never know. Been a fantastic hire at Dayton. Didn't work at Alabama.
Yep.
SEC schools, where it's just hard when it's a football school first.
That's why we get excited when we have good basketball.
Yes, especially sustainable good basketball. Billy Embody knows a little bit about basketball, but we're going to concentrate on football recruiting when we come back. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
Louisiana one call 811. Man, listen, why don't you just go paint it on there's a handle on your shovel. Go paint 811. So every time you pick it up, man, I got to call 811 because if I sink this thing in the ground, I might hit something that I'm not supposed to hit.
Right.
So many of the lines are buried so shallow beneath the surface. And if you hit one of them, you're going to cause problems for yourself, for your neighbors. Man, it's so easy to avoid. Just call 811 2 days before you dig.
And that's 365 days a year. So no matter when you're doing that project, if you think, will someone be there, they will be there. They're going to pick up the phone, and they're going to make it incredibly easy on you. Hanny mentioned it 2 days before you dig. You tell them what you're doing. They come out. They mark it. It keeps you safe. It keeps your neighbors safe, and it keeps your neighbors and your wife and everyone in your house happy because you do not want to be that person that knocks out the power or hits a pipe and has a flood situation. Again, it's easy. Call 811 before you dig. It's the law.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana Products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
When you want the best of Louisiana, you don't go to a superstore. We know what we like, and we like it local. Same goes for banking. As one of Louisiana's largest local banks, we offer homegrown services crafted around you. Gulf Coast Bank, the bank that cares about you.
Joy to the world, football has come. Mahomes and Watson. That's right, Thursday Night Football. Let's break it down. Off the bench, 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We're brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Hanging with Hester and Hanny. We bring in Billy Embody from Go 247. Billy, good afternoon. How are you?
Doing well, guys. How about you?
Doing fantastic. Have you ever seen anything quite like what we saw last weekend? I know desperate times, desperate measures, but a recruiting weekend in a dead period with as many players and as many prominent players that had to come from long distances, that was basically organized, or maybe I shouldn't say organized, but executed by the players themselves.
No, haven't really seen anything like that. I mean, LSU is now the latest program to have a bunch of players come through and check out the school on their own. Georgia and Oklahoma had, a few players come through, and Oklahoma's was probably the closest thing to LSU's. But the Tiger turnout that was really organized by Garrett Nussmeier, LSU's 4-star quarterback commit, was really impressive. And it really kicked off on Friday with a few 5-stars making their way to Baton Rouge, and namely Corey Foreman and Tristan Lee, two of the top overall prospects in the country. And then from there, it seemed like everybody just kept coming over, from Mason Smith to Chris Hilton to JoJo Earl to Garrett Nussmeier, Savion Bird, Keanu Coate, and Michael Trigg, who both came all the way from Florida. I mean, it was something special, and I think it's probably something we'll continue to see throughout the fall. But it would be something if some of these other groups of commitments could top what LSU's put together this past weekend.
Billy, I think this can be extremely impactful because you're hearing from your peers. You're hearing from people that you know, and we were talking about it earlier. You've been at all these camps together growing up since you were freshmen, and you know how special of a player each other are. So you can say, man, I've wanted to play on that guy's team for a long time, and you can listen to your peers. I think even though you weren't able to get the full experience of, having Coach O and having Insminger and having Pelini, maybe go through the scheme, I still think you could gain a lot of steam from a player-driven weekend like we had.
Yeah, and the thing about it, too, is with everything going virtual since the COVID-19 shutdown or whatever in March, these players have heard plenty of pitches. They've been on Zooms. I was talking with JoJo Earl this morning, who was at the weekend and has been a long-time LSU commit now, and is pretty quiet, though. But he said, when I made my decision, I had been on virtual visits. I had talked to the coaches. I love Coach Mickey. My mom loves Coach Mickey. I love Ed Ogeron. I love the SEC and the offense. And the thing about it is now these guys are getting the chance to get together and hang out and really build that bond on their own, because sometimes commits and recruits do have a little bit of a tough time really building bonds, because it's rare that you get together with each other rather than just texting or in group chats or what have you. And so it was big in that regard. I think being away from coaches and support staff and anyone else who's, let's just say, like, main interest is LSU outside of the commitments, sometimes it's tough to maybe take it in for yourself without somebody in your ear saying, oh, well, that's maybe being worked on, or that's this, or that's that, or whatever, and kind of supplementing your visit. This was just everybody taking in Baton Rouge. They went to Rufino's and Top Golf and checked out the campus, of course, and got a look at all they could. But this was I think sometimes when, like you said, you're around your peers, you're able to take things in and really make an assessment for yourself without any other influences.
Billy Embody is our guest. Billy, as best you can, describe the relationship between Mason Smith and Corey Foreman.
Yeah, so this has kind of gone back to when they were both underclassmen at the opening finals last summer, so summer 2019. And both of them really were, one, impressive at the camp, but were among, a handful of rising juniors at the time going into this camp. And so they really built a bond together at that camp, and just kind of have started talking about playing together. And when you look at their two recruitments, I think for the most part it's LSU and Georgia being the two top dogs for both of those players in terms of who's battling it out. They seem serious about playing together as far as the package deal. Mason Smith and Corey Foreman were in Athens before they both were in Baton Rouge checking out LSU. And so in that respect, they do seem like they are taking it seriously. But, I mean, with two highly touted 5-stars, I'm in the camp where I'll believe it when I see it, when they both end up on the same roster. But I think the most likely way that they would do that would be if they ended up at LSU.
Billy, when you look at what LSU possibly still has left on the table and what is already an impressive recruiting class, when you look at potential, 4 or 5-star guys, we've talked about a couple of them, Sage Ryan being another that you could throw in there. What's the realistic chances of those 4 guys we've talked about, right? You talked about Foreman, and we've also talked about Smith. We talked about Lee, those Sage Ryan in there. What's the likelihood that they could get at least 2 of the 4?
I think pretty high. I think Mason Smith, Sage Ryan, Brian Thomas Jr., who didn't end up popping over for the visit, but he's another one in Louisiana. Those 3, Tristan Lay seems to be trending in the right direction for LSU as well. And this is that's 4 right there. That is would be really, really strong. And then from there, LSU would obviously love to get Corey Foreman. It doesn't seem like he's going to decide until January, so a long way to go there. Michael Trigg, the 4-star tight end out of Tampa, is another one they're going to look at. They want a safety, and they've got a few like Andrew Makuba and Derek Davis and Terrion Arnold that are looking their way, and they want another offensive lineman if they do get Lee on top of him. And you can look at guys like Kimo Makinole, who's committed to Florida State, and then Savion Byrd, an uncommitted top 100 overall prospect. So, I mean, they have a pretty, I would say, exact group of players they're really targeting and looking at. And, I could see them coming away with plenty of them, and then also some maybe going elsewhere. But they've got a chance to really finish as strong as anybody in the country.
Where could they finish? That was going to be my follow-up question. Where could you see them finishing? Because, again, this is the 4th-ranked composite class right now, and they still have a lot of room to grow, not just a little. I mean, we're talking about some of their biggest targets are still out there.
Yeah, I think between or among, Alabama, Ohio State, and Clemson, and especially really Alabama, Ohio State, and LSU, those are the 3 that I think you could see really land a number 1 recruiting class. Alabama and Ohio State are at 21 and 19 commitments respectively, already above the 300-point mark. And then for LSU, if you add a Mason Smith, if you add a Tristan Lee, if you add Sage Ryan and Brian Thomas, I mean, you're looking at a chance to really potentially push, depending on how all the rest of the schools pan out, and certainly, just final recruiting rankings and all of that, to push for the number 1 class. I mean, if they were to land Corey Foreman as well, that would be one where that would really, I think, potentially push them over the top. I mean, and just add the 4 that I mentioned, that puts them at 302. So that, if everything stood pat right there, that would just put them right behind Alabama. And then if you land Corey Foreman, if you land an Andrew Makuba, Michael Trigg, or any of those other guys, then you can maybe talk about them jumping Alabama if maybe Bama misses out on a couple of their final targets too.
Billy, now that we have the schedule set and we have the protocol set for every Southeastern Conference team, what do we know and what do we think about how visits might go during this regular season, if at all?
Yeah, personally, I just don't see it happening right now. I think when you look at these college football teams already having to deal with, potential outbreaks or quarantining and contact tracing and all the different things that they have to deal with right now. And we saw LSU's offensive line impacted by that in fall camp before students were even back, but certainly recently that they dealt with that. And when you potentially bring in, let's say, a recruit and their family, and you have them spend time around the coaching staff for dinners and go check out practice and hang out with a player host, and unless you were to test them with a rapid test when they get to town, and then monitor them with temperature testing throughout. I mean, it's a liability to expose your team to that, and then your season potentially be impacted. So during the regular season, I got a tough time seeing it, and they're not letting the bands on the field, and they're already in school with the guys. So I think it could be very, very, very different, but I would be surprised if they had visits during the regular season.
Billy, do you still think we're going to have a December signing period with everything going on and not being able to have those visits?
I do. I think for a lot of these young guys, they are probably ready to get the process over with. And it's kind of interesting because back in, let's say, April, May, everyone was talking about how this could be the biggest decommitment, season ever in terms of numbers. And it could very well be. But in terms of how widespread it could be, I'm not so sure it's going to be that way. When you look at LSU's commits, a lot of them look to be pretty solid. I mean, you might see a little attrition here or there, but I think a lot of these guys are going to be ready to sign. And if the NCAA wants to give them that option to do so, I can't fault them for that. And I think it's the right thing to do. Like Garrett Nussmeier, he'd sign he'd sign tomorrow. I mean, you know, Chris Hilton seems like he'd sign tomorrow. JoJo Earl, after talking with him, he seems like he'd sign tomorrow. So there's a lot of these guys that are pretty locked in, and I think they'd like to sign if they were able to.
You can follow him on Twitter at Billy Embody. Billy, thanks a bunch for the time. We'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good, guys. Thanks for having me.
And we'll take a break here. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
Tiger Air and the American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning System. Tiger Air, an independent American Standard dealer, because it's built to a higher standard. It's one of the most trusted in the industry. Consumers are more satisfied with the American Standard, and I know because I'm one of them. I saw my energy bills immediately decrease. It's worry-free. The American Standard air conditioners aren't just built to be comfortable. They're built to be efficient, and they're built to last. It's the name you know. It's the name you trust. Year after year, American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning consistently rates with the highest rated heating and air conditioning units with all consumers.
Remember to visit tiger-air.com. You can get that free quote right there at the top of the website. You can get a full list of services as well. You always hear me talk about the Comfort Assurance Protection Plan. You can check out that protection plan. Seasonal maintenance is so important when it comes to your air conditioning and your heating equipment. Make sure you choose Tiger Air. It's the only choice. Give them a call today at 225-754-8687.
Saints coverage, Chiefs, Cowboys, Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday Night Football. From the opening kickoff to the playoffs and the Super Bowl, the NFL lives on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Wednesday's AFR presented by Pluckers, Saints, Tigers back on the practice field, and Russ Mitchell joins us to look at SEC East win totals. It's all on Wednesday's AFR. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
And now this, a bizarre proposal that has been provoked by COVID. Stop me if you've heard this one before. But it's a little bit different in that there's a different person doing the leading of the charge, if it were here. Mike Krzyzewski, as respected a name as there is in all of sports, according to an ESPN report, is spearheading the push for an all-inclusive NCAA tournament. All-inclusive.
That means everybody.
This means your drinks are paid for at the resort, okay? And your parking and your food.
You don't have to have a parking pass there, though.
Right.
It's already included.
346 eligible teams for the NCAA tournament. The ACC coaches would prefer to avoid non-conference games because of the pandemic, something they may have to do anyway, but we'll see what happens a little bit later on in September. The coaches are releasing statements about this proposal as the day goes on today. Steve Forbes at Wake Forest says, "I'm proud to stand united with every coach in the ACC that believe that every Division I college basketball program should be allowed to participate in the tournament this year. This is what's best for our student athletes, our fans, and the sport of college basketball. It will incentivize everyone that loves and cares about our great sport through these unprecedented times and will provide a safe environment for all to participate in. Let's get this done." I can't think of one thing in that statement that I agree with.
What are the parameters of this? How do we get to so what after you lose, what happens? You done?
Yeah.
So that's it? It's
No. They're going to play the regular season, okay? But then they want to play a tournament. I'm reading this correct. Am I not? They still want to play conference regular season, just conference, and then let everybody in the tournament, okay? Okay, the first thing is 346 teams don't deserve to be in the NCAA tournament. Okay, Chicago State has averaged 5 wins a year for the last 4 years.
Right.
So,
how do you know that?
Huh?
How do you know that?
I looked it up.
Okay, I was about to say that's a pull there.
Yeah. Oh well, I picked a really bad team, and it was in a piece I read. So everybody doesn't deserve it. Okay, I can make a case that maybe more deserve to get into it than 68 in any given year. There's always those bubble teams where should this team gotten in or not.
I see. I looked at it as soon as you said this. I looked at it the opposite way. I looked at it from a team like Gonzaga's perspective. They play in a weak conference.
Mm-hmm.
They play in a conference they dominate inside and out. They get ready for the NCAA tournament because they play one of the toughest non-conference schedules in the country. That's how they get their games in. That's how they find out who their team is, and they breeze through conference play. You might get a year where St. Mary's or BYU upsets them on a one-off, but they are going to be the conference champion, and they are typically a 1, a 2, a 3 seed, right? They have earned that right. They're not going to be very battle-tested if you do it this way.
Right. So all of that.
Yeah.
But I want to take this statement piece by piece because this is what's best for our student athletes. How does it benefit the student athletes if Duke's playing Chicago State in the first round of the NCAA tournament, wherever that would be? I don't see how that benefits Chicago State all that much. It might, hey, man, we get to play Duke. But does that do anything for anybody? No, I don't get that. For the fans, no, I don't see where this does very much for the fans. You got a hard enough time drawing people to the regular season in college basketball as it is. I mean, as it is, it's in a lot of circles become a 1-month sport.
Yeah.
People pay attention in March, and that's it. I mean, gone are the days where we had college athletes that we could watch them progress through their careers a whole lot and really set up another season. I mean, the days of the Shaquille O'Neals and Alonzo Mournings of the world staying for 3 and 4 years, those are done. So if you want to get more fans to care about the tournament, they already care about the tournament. You want to get more care about the regular season, this doesn't do that. For the sport of college basketball, it waters it down. I don't see where that works. It will incentivize everyone that loves and cares about our great sport. Again, how? What are you
watching Grand Canyon in Louisville?
Yeah, what are you incentivizing? Okay, I mean, okay, they get into a watered-down NCAA tournament, get their teeth kicked in by a blue blood. And here's the one that I get. It will provide a safe environment for all to participate in. Again, how? How many more games are you adding to the NCAA tournament that is supposed to be played in normal years at a neutral site? So now we're going to send Chicago State and Duke to, I don't know, Greensboro, and put them all through those protocols and put them in a bubble for a week, and all for a game that's going to end up 128 to 47. I don't get any of this. And even if I did, college basketball is already set up this way. Anybody can get in the NCAA tournament. Every one of those 346 teams has an opportunity on the floor, not through a poll, not with a committee. Every team has a chance to get themselves into the tournament. You want to go one step further than that? Every team has a chance to win. If Chicago State goes out and finds 5 kids that all of a sudden become, their version of Hoosiers, and they can play, I mean, the odds are, impossible to 1. I get it. But in theory, you could do that. You play in a conference tournament, you win your conference tournament against your peers, you get in the NCAA tournament. Yep. You pull an upset, you're Santa Clara, and you beat Arizona, I think it was that year.
Steve Nash.
You're Maryland, Baltimore County, and you beat Virginia. Good for you. You're Loyola Chicago, and you run all the way to the Final Four. Bravo. That's what the sport is. Those stories make the sport. It's great. You don't need to add this to have that. You already have that. And you have that without subjecting us to Chicago State and North Carolina playing at, I don't know, the Georgia Dome. The Mercedes-Benz Dome. Sorry, they blew up the Georgia Dome.
Sure, it's
but,
wherever. Saying Georgia Dome. We know where
the Birmingham Civic Center. Okay, used to play some great games at the Birmingham.
The Hirsch Coliseum up in Shreveport.
I don't get any of this. I don't see where this benefits anybody. I don't see. We barely consider the first 4 the NCAA tournament. When the 2 seeds play, we barely consider that. It's on TV. It's by itself, so we sort of watch a little bit. But all it does is set one of those teams up to be blasted by a 1 seed 2 days later. Right. We don't even – if you say, well, that team's got, out of the MEACs, got 2 NCAA tournament wins. Were they in Dayton? Yeah. Well, okay. That doesn't really – it's the NCAA tournament. It's not really the NCAA tournament. Now, we feel a little bit different about the higher seeds, out of the bigger conferences, because they can get into the NCAA tournament and win a game. But the odds against those other teams are overwhelming. We are definitely not going to consider Chicago State and Duke from Greensboro to be a legitimate NCAA tournament game.
Are you surprised by who this came from?
Yes.
Coming from the ACC. If this was the Pac-12 leading this and they've canceled sports all the way until January, they can't play anything but conference games, that would make a lot more sense to me if they came out with this silly proposal than someone like Coach K in an ACC that's staying on schedule. They're playing football. They're actually kicking off this weekend. That surprised me more than anything was the fact that who's leading this charge. If it was the Pac-12, I would make fun of this and I would move on. But the ACC doing it makes it even more bizarre.
The fact that Krzyzewski's out in front.
Yep.
If Krzyzewski's
He's the name.
Krzyzewski's name is out in front of it, you have to take it seriously, because he didn't just make this up for no reason. I'm anxious to hear him speak on it, because maybe I'm too dumb to see the benefits of this. I mean, nobody's gonna debate my basketball knowledge versus Mike Krzyzewski's, not for any amount of time. So I'm anxious to hear, because Forbes' statement I just don't agree with. I don't see where this is safer. I don't see where this enhances the game. I don't see where this is good for the players. I don't see where this is good for the fans. I don't see very much good out of this at all.
I mean, he's not the only one. Chris Mack at Louisville said, "We are united. The safety of our players is paramount. The ability to incentivize the regular season without mandating a select number of non-conference and conference games provides options and flexibility for all member institutions. As ACC head coaches, we strongly believe it's in the game's best interest to have an all-inclusive 2021 tournament."
I want to know how this is safer. Okay, so you don't play Wofford in November. You cancel the non-conference games. It's safer to play Wofford in March? I mean, what do we – maybe we'll have a vaccine by then. I don't know. But – I don't get where essentially moving non-conference games from November to March is all they're doing. I don't I don't get it.
Chances this actually gains steam? Again,
I have to give it weight because of Krzyzewski.
Yes.
He would not have put his name on the front of this thing if he didn't think it had some gas. And he's got his entire Coach K says the ACC follows. Okay. If they're all in lockstep on this, they're a powerful enough conference in basketball, and Krzyzewski's a powerful enough name that he wouldn't have thrown this out there if he didn't think he had something. So I got because of his name, I got to give it some weight. At first glance, I don't like anything about it. Not a single thing.
Again, if it was not who it was, this would be thrown in the trash can already.
Yeah, if this had come out of the MAC, or even out of the Pac-12, you're right. Nothing at all. Krzyzewski's seen it. Well, okay. I need to hear more from him.
Yeah.
Because he's got his reasons. We'll take a break. Be back with more here on the other side. Hanging with Hester and Hanny. Good week to be a cornerback. Wouldn't you like to be a cornerback, especially a really good cornerback? You'd be a rich dude.
Yes. Dollar bills.
Tell you the latest rich dude when we come back. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
Have you lost your job during the pandemic and you're looking for not just a job but a career? May we suggest Associated Grocers. Go to agbr.com because right now they are hiring at all different positions. A family-oriented company with terrific benefits, fantastic wages, and the ability to move up very quickly at a multitude of positions.
Outstanding benefits. You just mentioned you can find those benefits on the website we gave you, agbr.com/careers. It is right there. Tells you everything that you can expect, which is a lot. And I told you yesterday, they continually add jobs to the website. Customer service representative just went on the site today. So it is always changing. They're always adding opportunities. This thing does not sit still. They are moving you. They're getting you in a position to start that career that we always talk about. Again, it is simple. Go to agbr.com/careers. It is in big, bold red. See available positions. Click on that. You're going to find something you love, and you're going to get taken care of over at Associated Grocers.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
This is a house call. This is a test result. This is a prescription refill. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare. Start your virtual visit today at Auctioner Health.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Join us for a Wednesday edition of Game Time with Jimmy Ott and Ben Mintz. The guys are live from Snow's Seafood and Steak, getting you ready for the first weekend of the NFL season. Tune in from 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Welcome back in, Hanging with Hester and Hanny, presented by Richards Honda. Hanny mentioned it before we went to break. If you play corner, and you're pretty good at it in the NFL, it has been a good week for you. Jalen Ramsey signs the largest cornerback deal in history. Tre'Davious White, Hanny, only had it for about a minute, it seemed like, at $17.5 million per year. Jalen Ramsey tops it at $21 million per season.
It's a lot more for a one-day thing. First of all, let's talk about, do you think the players are comparable? Or is Jalen Ramsey better? Or is Trey White better?
There is not a large enough gap for me for the numbers to make sense. And I thought Tre'Davious really was going to set the market. And we were talking about Marshawn Lattimore and what he would be able to get, even though I think Tre'Davious is a better overall player. When you set the market, you'll see the numbers go up. Didn't expect it to go up by this much this soon. 5 years, $105 million, but it's the per year salary. It's just $71.2 million at signing. Largest sum guaranteed to a defensive back.
This is what the Rams do. The Rams set the market, basically. They set the market with Todd Gurley. That was a mistake. They set the market with Aaron Donald. That was a good move. They set the market with Jared Goff. Jury's still out. I think Goff is a good quarterback. I don't think he's an elite quarterback.
He's not $33.5 million a year.
No, we used to like to do this on the midday show. Jimmy and I. We used to like to put players in quadrants: first 8, second 8, third 8, fourth 8 in the NFL. Where you got Jared Goff if you're rating quarterbacks? Which quadrant? Quadrant 1, 2, 3, or 4?
3.
Yeah, I've got him probably near the top of 3.
Yeah.
Okay, so they set the market with Jared Goff, and they're overspending. He's not a bad quarterback, and you can get to the Super Bowl with him because they did. Yeah. Okay, they caught the mother of all breaks, but they got there, and they had to put some people around him. He's not going to. He does not strike me as a guy that, certainly not at this point in his career, and I don't know if ever will be able to carry a team. But he's a competent quarterback. They overpaid for him. So with Jalen Ramsey, you're setting the market again. You're setting the market significantly higher. Like, you think that Ramsey and White are comparable players, and so do I. So if they come back to him and they offer him a deal that is, I don't know, 3 to 5% more than White, and you say, look, man, this guy just set the market. We're going to give you a little bit more.
Yeah.
Not this much more. Did you need to give him this much money to sign him?
No, I didn't think so. I thought if they offered him, so Shaq got 17.5. I thought if you gave him 19 per year, that's about where I thought it. So you're talking about $2 million per year over what I thought the market would be reset at, and that was kind of on the high end. I just typically when something like this happens, a couple of days later, the guy who was next in line would push a little bit, his agent would push a little bit, and that number comes a little bit over, right? That small percentage.
Yeah.
And this is blowing past it. So that's what surprised me is they valued him this much more to be able to give him this deal. So what does this do for the rest of the – because this isn't the first corner to get paid. I mean, we could go – I mean, Budda Baker was getting paid at the safety position. Everybody in that defensive backfield is getting paid right now. What does this do for Marshawn Lattimore and the Saints?
It does nothing but increase his value, but I would be surprised if the Saints gave him this deal. The Tre'Davious White deal, maybe, okay, but this deal, no. They also, the Rams, when they jumped the gun on the Todd Gurley thing, everybody said, well, are they forward thinkers? That was what the media said. That's what the fans said. The front office people said, they're nuts. They're out of their mind. There's no way we're tearing up that contract at this point. Well, same thing with Ramsey. He had another year left on his deal. Now, are you going to be so disruptive that he's already done that once? So he showed up in Jacksonville with in an armored truck. Very subtle. Okay, I want my money. They could have sort of held him to this deal for another year and done this next offseason when, by the way, they would have a better idea of what next year's salary cap would be. A better idea, meaning they know exactly what it was. Right now, everybody's speculating. They've got $21 million in Ramsey, $33.5 million in Goff, and $22.5 million in Donald. Of those three contracts, I think Donald is worth it. Donald's so good he may be underpaid. One more question. Are the Rams a Super Bowl team?
Nope.
Are the Rams a playoff team?
Fringe. Not the best team in their division.
It's not impossible for them to make the playoffs, but if you ask me up or down right now, are the Rams going to make the playoffs in the NFC? I'd say no.
I'd say no as well. I wonder how much of this has to do with the draft capital that they gave up to get him. They felt like they had to do whatever it took to sign him.
Good money after bad. Now, this is not to say Ramsey's a really good player.
Great player.
Fantastic, but this seems like a little bit much. Take a break, Sports Center, and then we're back on the other side for hour number 3, hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, Your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Here at the Big Squeezy, we continue to serve the Baton Rouge and Southeast Louisiana areas during these troubling times. We are dedicated to providing you healthy food items to help you live your best life. From our cold-pressed juices to our delicious smoothies, let the Big Squeezy keep you going. Stay active, stay happy, and let us help you stay healthy. Visit us at our locations and also inside of Alexander's and Mathern's grocery stores or online at thebigsqueezy.com.
Callahan Injury Lawyers.
Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi, developing story. The cornerback market's been reset in the NFL thanks to a massive extension the Rams agreed to with Jalen Ramsey. His agent confirmed to ESPN's Adam Schefter it's a 5-year, $105 million extension, largest contract ever signed by a cornerback. The Bengals named rookie quarterback Joe Burrow one of their 17 captains days before he makes his NFL debut Sunday against the Chargers. Solid call by Cincinnati, notes ESPN's Ryan Clark.
What this says from his on-the-field preparation to off-the-field leading teams, when you even think about things about social justice, Joe Burrow has shown that he's mature beyond his years in the league and that he's ready to be the face of a franchise. The Bengals hit it out of the park with this pick.
ACC coaches are proposing an expanded 2021 NCAA basketball tournament that would include every Division I team. Several ACC coaches prefer to avoid out-of-conference games this upcoming season amid the pandemic. There are 346 D1 schools. Four-time major golf champ Brooks Koepka has withdrawn from next week's U.S. Open because of a lingering knee issue.
Download the DraftKings app and use code MAX to get a free shot at millions of dollars up for grabs this week with your first deposit. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Hour number 3, Hanging with Hester and Hanny. Glad you're with us on this Wednesday afternoon. Moscona's going to come in and yell at the third floor here in about an hour, isn't he?
Oh, gosh, it's Wednesday.
Salespeople hate him.
They do. Very much so.
He comes in here and he yells at them.
But
he yells at the traffic manager. He yells at the salespeople. He yells at the producers.
He does. He yells at everybody. The only thing that makes it okay is Drew appreciates it.
That's true.
At least that's what Matt says. I hadn't heard it from Drew yet.
Probably Erica would be the one
yeah,
we need to ask on that. You listen to us on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, 1130 The Tiger. On if you watch us on CST or on our YouTube channel, 104.5 ESPN. Our Hanging with Hester and Hanny page has the Scott Woodward interview from hour number 1 explaining LSU's game day policies. If you missed that from at the beginning of the show, we'll probably do another recap before the end, but you can go back and listen to that interview anytime on demand or on our YouTube page. You had an interesting conversation this morning with former Auburn coach Gene Chizik, who is now at the SEC Network. This was about we enjoyed talking with him. It was about 2 weeks ago about some of the things that he would be doing as a coach to prepare for this unprecedented season. Today, the topic was freshmen.
It really was, because you're going to have so many freshmen that are going to be counted on, not only to be contributors, Hanny, but they're going to be asked to be guys on your team.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you look at Eric Gilbert and LSU, and you look at Butte, and those are guys that LSU is counting to be starters. Elias Ricks, starter. It's a true freshman. So not just guys that help you out. And this isn't only LSU. This is going to be across the country. You're going to have young football players. I asked Coach Chizik that question, being a former national championship winning head coach, how difficult that would be.
Yeah, I think that's the key right there, Jacob. I mean, it's one thing to play a freshman in any league. Obviously, in this league, it's extremely difficult because the lines of scrimmages are so difficult to navigate your way through as a young guy here, offense or defensive line, because the game's so physical, the bodies are so big. Not that they're not in other leagues, but I think, look at the NFL draft. That tells you what the lines of scrimmage look like here. And it's particularly hard on those guys. I would say harder on those guys than they are on perimeter guys who, if you take a DB, for instance, he can stay out of a lot of confrontations. And if he has coverage skills, then he can probably play a little bit faster, than maybe, let's say, a defensive tackle. So that combined with the fact that these guys had no spring practice. So you're going to be counting on freshmen that actually weren't, a lot of the freshmen nowadays, as you guys know, they come in January and at least they get 15 practices under their belt, to kind of get, accustomed to what it's going to feel and look like. And that's gone. And then you have the meetings and the X's and O's and the walkthroughs and things that those were gone too. So now those became Zoom meetings. So look, you're going to see that. And look, even if they're not playing early in the year, what's it going to look like when clusters of players or, 2 or 3 guys at a position are out? They got to get thrown in there game 3 or 4. So it's going to be interesting. This is going to be a season like we've never seen before on a lot of fronts.
It seems like everyone we talk to talks about the lines of scrimmage and it being the most affected. Anytime we have Cole Kulik on, and that's my go-to offensive line source, you have not had the physical part of practice. So veteran players as well, not only the freshmen, but it's almost when you talk about it as freshmen playing on the defense, the offensive line, they are truly going to have some growing pains. And there's some freshman defensive tackles that I think LSU will be counting on. I don't think there's any question about that. And that was before Tyler Shelvin decided to opt out. So how quickly can they catch up? How quickly can they impact the game? Because he said it. Like, if you're out there on the edge, if you're Elias Ricks, or if you're Butte, if you're even Eric Gilbert, even though he's going to be in situations where he's close to the line of scrimmage, a lot of time he's going to be in the slot. You can get by with not having that spring practice. But when you're talking about the interior guys, and thankfully, if you're LSU, on the offensive side of the ball, you've got, even though they're new guys, Handy, they're guys with experience in games for the most part, depending on who wins that right guard position battle. But I think where you start looking from an LSU perspective is all the young defensive tackles and the outside edge guys, right? The defensive ends, the B.J. Ojolaris, those type of guys.
Something else that I think this has affected, and this is going back a couple of years, not just this year, Ed Orgeron has made it a point to hold, with the transfer rules having been adjusted as much as they have, he's held spots available for late transfers. And this thing has paid dividends in tenfold of what he has done. Cole Tracy, Joe Burrow, they went out and decided that they needed help at kicker. They found a quarterback became available that they didn't think would be available. Well, I think we know how those two worked out. This year, Liam Shanahan is available to them, and all of a sudden they find out that not only would he be a luxury item, they need a center.
Right.
He was. We ask all the time, how would a smaller leagues all-conference team play at a Power 5 level? Well, a lot of those guys, if you're an all-conference player at a lower level, a lot of times you could step in and start for a lot of D1 teams. And if you think, oh, not at LSU, yeah, the guy at Harvard stepped in. And yesterday they got another one.
The guy at North Dakota State.
Dakota State stepped in, and he's looked at as a potential first-round pick. And yesterday LSU went and got another one, Darren Evans. And Baton Rouge prep fans will remember him from his time at Glen Oaks. Yep. And he was a 3-year starter, basically, at Nichols. He had started 32 games, 6'3", 180 pounds. Kerry Vincent left the team. They found themselves short one experienced defensive back. They had one slot left. This is the guy they went and got. He was a second-team all Southland player last year. So they bring him in. They've still got, almost 3 weeks to the opener, 2.5 weeks to the opener. They've got time to get him in school. He's an experienced player. He doesn't know this defense yet, but he's got a little time to ramp up. If he's not a starter from day one, that's okay. They just need somebody else out there. And the biggest thing I like about this is that there's a good chance he's going to play on the outside, which increases my chances of being able to say, flot in the slot.
Print them up. Okay, so I reached out to a couple of Nickel State coaches that I know, and the thing that they all said, and it was 3 different coaches, they said he's got the length to play in the SEC, and he's going to be competitive at the point. So this is a guy with 28 PBUs in the last 3 seasons. All of that is important. So what you watch for is the speed of the game going to be too fast for him going from the Southland to the SEC? Right? Just like we have questions anytime someone comes in from a smaller school, if they're a lineman, is the strength too much for them? If they're on the edge, is the speed too much for them? And so I'm going to go back and I'm getting a cut up of Jazz Ferguson when he was at Northwestern State going against Evans. And I'm going to break it down, and I want to see what an SEC caliber, because that's what he was. I mean, Jazz Ferguson was a guy that could have played at LSU, gotten some things, and transfers to Northwestern State, had a chance to get into a training camp with Seattle, I believe it was. And so let's turn that tape on. Let's see what he looks like against a player like that, because this is a guy that the Nickel State coaches talk glowingly about.
The one thing I looked at, I love the fact that he's 6'3". The length is terrific. 180 pounds for 6'3" is a little bit thin, where SEC defensive backs, you just think about, they're 5'11", they're 195 pounds. They're 5'10", they're 190, 5'11", 195 pounds. 180, I'm just a wee bit concerned that's a little bit thin, but I think the rest of it makes up for it. I completely get what you're saying, but even a guy like Quentin Jammer, who is my guy, some of the biggest arms I've ever seen on a human. Yeah. He's a big physical corner. None of those guys are real interested in tackling. Even a guy like that. So it doesn't. The size doesn't worry me too much. If he was playing, I've never seen him play.
Right. If he was playing more of a safety position, even if he was playing in the nickel, I'd want him a little bit bigger. But if he's on the outside, if he's away from the rugby scrum, I'm okay with that, because the over 6 foot plays way more to me than the pounds do. So I think for sure you talk about a guy who's going to be on the outside, because if you play slot, if you play in that nickel in today's college football and the NFL, you're asked to come up and be a run stopper at times. We saw Kerry Vincent grow in that last year, right? First couple of years at LSU, wasn't real interested in it. Got much better at it towards the end of his career at LSU. He would come up and he would fill that gap. So that part of it's important.
And I don't want to label him just by looking at the height and weight on the roster sheet. I remember when Rashard Robinson got here, and he played, almost from the day he hit campus, he was in that starting lineup. And he was not quite 6'3", but he was every bit of 6'1.5", and he was probably 180 pounds if he had a belt of wrenches on, and he would just go out there and he would rough you up, man. I remember that game he played against Mike Evans for Texas A&M, and Evans had, by the roster sheet, 45, 50 pounds on him. And Robinson beat the crap out of him all day. He didn't just cover him. He beat that was when Manziel and those guys came here.
Yep.
And Robinson just put him in his pocket that day. He just physically just beat on. It's like, man, who's that little guy beating on that big guy? So it doesn't always work out that way. We'll take a break. Back on the other side, hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
Introducing EnviroPath, the EnviroPath plan, a bold, proactive campaign to get businesses and schools open safely and confidently. It pivots around the most powerful air and surface purification technology ever discovered, the Active Pure technology. This is the first time there's been a technology that could sanitize all the indoor air and surfaces all the time without being messy or smelly or requiring you to shut down your business. And it's economical as well.
That's right. Face mask, only partially effective, Handy. The germs still escape into the air. Chemical spray downs are not the answer. Very temporary solution. Immediate recontamination as well. You mentioned it. Messy, odor, business shutdown, sometimes toxic as well. Possible damage to surfaces and plants. If you want more information, a couple ways to do that. You can email them info@enviropath.world. You can also pick up the phone and give them a call today at 225-610-0702.
Off the Bench, Hanging with Hester and Hanny, After Further Review and more, are all live daily on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube channel. Subscribe now to interact with us inside the live chat driven by Bayou Ford.
Prompt, professional, reliable. If you're looking for a breath of fresh air with your AC and heating needs, call the professionals at Anison Bitter. Anison Bitter, a Rheem Pro partner, keeping your family comfortable for over 25 years.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
When it's clearance time, smart customers rush to Richards Honda because all your favorite Honda models are at fantastic prices. And with our fanatical customer care, it's no wonder people call Richards Honda the smart choice.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
At Corval Toyota in Opelousas, you can get into a RAV4 for $3,000 off MSRP. That's right, $3,000 off MSRP. And we have plenty in stock. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Joy to the world, football has come. Mahomes and Watson. That's right, Thursday Night Football. Let's break it down. Off the bench, 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Today's show brought to you in part by Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com. Support your Louisiana farmers down in Southwest Louisiana. It's all milled and processed right there in Southwest Louisiana. You know, for Supreme Rice, you're always talking about great party foods. If you're talking about making an etouffee, if you're talking about making a jambalaya, man, it gets a little bit cold. You're talking about making a gumbo. Use Supreme Rice. Whether you like the long grain or the brown or the jasmine, which is our favorite, it's a perfect complement to any meal. And it's so easy to get. You can get it at all Walmarts, all your Costco's, all of your AG food dealers, and we'll make your food dollar stretch just a little bit further. We've always had Supreme Rice at our house. Enjoy it at yours. For great recipes, get a little bit creative. More information, go to SupremeRice.com. Dr. Stephen Etheridge joins us now. We're getting close, Doc. We're getting close. So give us, we're not quite 2 weeks out, just a little over 2 weeks out now. How the protocol's going? How's things moving along? What's next? I feel like, okay, as a non-medical person, that we've reached most of the benchmarks that we were looking for. They got back to campus. They got through orientation. They got into non-contact practices. They got to practices with a football. They got to contact practices. And then the big one, which we were all waiting for, was the students got back to campus. Now the students have been back on campus for several weeks. We even threw a hurricane in there just for good measure. How do you feel about where we are?
I think right now we're looking really good. I think you kind of hit a lot of the nails on the head there. There's a lot of things we're worried about, a lot of things we were worried about that we've gotten through. I think at this point, very optimistic. Now, we've all seen how quickly this virus can change our opinions and how this roller coaster that we've all been on, how quickly it drops underneath us sometimes. But I'll say right now, we're at a good spot. I think there's a good reason for optimism, with the team, with the players, with everything we're seeing. I think we still got to learn more, but we know a lot more than we did, and we're at a good place. I think we have reason to kind of get excited.
One of the things that we talked about for so long was the Major League Baseball model, and college football was going to be somewhat paying attention to that because you weren't in a bubble. And I think Major League Baseball, they've had some bumps, but with those bumps, they've continued to move forward. Those teams that had those bumps, they sat out, did whatever, and they have continued to try to make those games up because you have some extra time. Well, there's some extra time built into the college football schedule as well. And, across the country, we have seen, some numbers go up, but the teams, for the most part, have continued to move forward. You quarantine those who need to be quarantined, and you continue trying to get ready for the season.
Yeah, they've done a great job with just continuing to roll, and I think that, like you said, that's what we're watching. And have we had bumps along the way here? Absolutely. There have been weeks where something comes up, whether it be the number of people in quarantine or sick, whether it may be some new protocol that we have to enact. And the coaches, they I'm sure don't like it, but they've kept rolling. They've kept their heads on the goal. They've kind of focused on what we're doing. The players, I give them all the credit in the world because this is a hard time for everybody. But this is their chance to showcase who they are, what they are. This is what they've been dreaming about, and here we are constantly throwing brakes on it and trying to change the way we're doing it. But everybody's done a really good job focusing. I think that's a good testament to having good leadership where we are, and I think they're doing a great job.
A couple weeks ago, I guess, we heard about the rapid testing, the saliva testing. Has that become widely available?
Not yet. And that's the thing we kind of assumed. I think at least for the foreseeable future, we are going to be still doing nasal testing is what we're doing. But I do think it's going to help us out a lot. I don't know when. It might be a week, a month, it might be the end of the season, hopefully sooner, but I think it's going to be something we can utilize for sure.
Can I be there when you tell the players that you're done sticking things up their nose into their brain and that they can actually just take a swab out of their mouth?
They're going to love that.
They're going to be happy about that, I would imagine.
There's been, you mentioned, it's forever changing, and there's been information, but it hasn't all been negative. There's been positive things that have come out, and that's what makes the Big Ten and the Pac-12, their decision, felt a little rushed, and their decision not to play. And now you're having people, and it's kind of leaking out that they say, yeah, you know what, we probably did rush this thing. The best thing, in my opinion, right now is to allow that time. And the SEC has done a fantastic job of giving that time. So if you do have that bump in the road, if you have a situation like Tennessee had over the weekend, you still have time to get it corrected because you knew there was going to be things that happened at the beginning.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't want to be critical of what was done or not done, but I think, look, I would have loved to have been able to said 2 months ago, this is exactly how this is going to play out, and we know how we're going to handle this, and this is going to work. It would have been a lie. We had to kind of live this world of day by day that we're all living in our day-to-day lives right now. If you look just at the high school football situation here, I honestly didn't think we were going to have high school football in Louisiana 2 weeks ago, and here we are. We're ready to rock and roll in October. It looks very promising. It could still change, but I think if you make a snap decision, all you can do is err on the side of caution. And while you commend that, I think you're absolutely right. They really went too quickly there.
Let me play out a scenario for you here. What if LSU had played Tennessee last Saturday and they come up in the middle of the next week and you got 44 tests, I believe it was. They come up, the last team you played ends up with 44 positives the next week. What do you do?
It's going to be difficult, and I'm sure eventually something along those lines will happen. Now, the one rule that we've talked about is this, we get a 90-day window from the time you test positive to where you get to test again. So that would help, of course. So if we had a scenario like right now, we'd say, well, look, we've had these guys positive, so we're not worried about them. But then we have to stop and look. Are they going to make you test everybody from that game? They are going to be testing everybody the Wednesday, the Friday, and maybe even the Saturday morning of the game. So hopefully we would catch most of them before then. That's going to be what the SEC is doing. So, and hopefully those players will never make it to that game. But if they do, you're going to be in a tough spot.
You test negative on Wednesday. You test negative on Friday. You test positive on Saturday. You're out.
Exactly.
This is going to make wagering on college football very difficult, Don.
Yeah. I mean,
you see Playboy Marty over there sweating right now?
Yeah.
I mean, 3 hours to kick off and, somebody's out.
I'm terrified of the day that it comes where I got to tell coach Saturday morning, hey, you're mixing X player.
You send somebody. That's when you
get a runner.
Yeah.
You get a runner and you send
call
them.
Derek and say, Panamsky, I need you to tell coach something.
Oh, there'll be assistance needed, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Also, something that we talked about obviously throughout the show were the protocols put in place for Tiger Stadium, and I've got to imagine the sideline's going to look different from everybody as well. How different will it look as far as your department and what you try to do? Because obviously you need a certain amount of people there, because if there's an injury, it's something where you have multiple opinions and you have multiple people working on the player.
Yeah, I think we're still kind of finalizing that, but I mean, like you said, it's going to be different. We're going to have more room. We're going to be more spread out. We're going to be limiting numbers. Obviously, I think in any football game, medical personnel is important. I think this year is definitely not an exception. But we also have to figure out, what is essential, what is not. It might be that we have some people waiting in the locker room, for example. If we have a really significant situation, we can rely on them and maybe limit the sideline. That's something we've discussed. We're still finding out what we're going to do, and I think it's going to be interesting.
Is the league requiring that the schools disclose positive tests to each other? If you're playing Ole Miss this week and you've got so many players, you have to disclose that to the other team?
Yeah, we're using it's going to be an independent company, so that's going to be the one nice thing. That way there won't be any of this, Alabama didn't test their quarterback because they were worried about
Why would you pick that school?
It's the first one that popped in the mind.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
He's a Florida State guy. I'm surprised he didn't say Florida. I would have appreciated that.
Would have worked just as well.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, continue. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
But so we do have an independent group that's going to do all the testing. I know that's one thing that people worry about, talking about competitive advantage. It's going to be just luck there. But yeah, we need to know what they've had, and that's generally what's done with any kind of, we had an episode last year where several Arkansas players had mumps, and we found out the week after, and that was kind of a scary week where we were really kind of holding our breath. But so just so that we can plan accordingly and know what to expect and who to watch. So they are going to let us know. They may not tell us the names, but they should tell us the numbers.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yep.
So if they tell you that 3 guys, they tell you that 3 guys. Well, this is a different thing. I mean, I understand where you're not going to tell when a guy's got a pulled hamstring.
No, I'm saying we had a deal when I was playing that at the Auburn facility they had staff, and there was multiple people within their staff that got staff, and guess who got it? Yours truly. Got it in my knee from their facility. They didn't tell us about it, and we traced it back to Auburn, Alabama, and the stadium.
So you might find out on Thursday that your opponent for the next week has 3 guys out, but you don't know who the 3 guys are.
Right. Now, having said that, obviously, you'll probably figure it out eventually before the game, just because people are going to make notes and people are going to see who's not showing up on the bus when they get off and things like that. You're going to figure it out, but yeah, generally because of the HIPAA restrictions, they don't have to tell us names.
And they certainly don't have to make it public to the media, right?
Correct.
Do you see Playboy Marty sweating over there? I mean, do you see him? I mean, he's got his head in his hands. He's very worried now.
It's going to be interesting.
Stick with the NFL, Marty, at least for this year. Doc, we appreciate it, man. Everything's moving along, so we're happy to see it. Thanks for stopping in again.
My pleasure.
We'll take a break. Be back on the other side, hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
GMFS Mortgage, gmfsmortgage.com, helping you through maybe some financial difficulties that you're having. One of the ways they can help you is a refinance. The rates are so low right now that you owe it to yourself to take a look and see if you can not only ease your long-range financial burdens, but in the short term, skip a mortgage payment or 2 and free up a little bit of cash. Maybe you think this is the perfect time to go out and shop for a new home. Your purchasing power is going to be at an all-time high because of these interest rates. Get pre-qualified so you know exactly what you're dealing with. Maybe you want a construction loan, adding on to your current home. GMFS Mortgage can help with all of these different scenarios. Do what I did. Do what thousands of others have done and get your life changed. They talk about changing your budget every single month for the better, and that's certainly going to change your life. So start your journey today at gmfsmortgage.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Do you know the proper way to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in your office? We do. We're Janny King. a leader in the cleaning industry for over 30 years, and we've developed comprehensive programs to address proper cleaning and disinfection. We have experience in applying disinfecting programs in hospitals, office buildings, schools, and other venues. Now we're ready to help and able to assist customers that need disinfecting services.
Do you know someone who sets a good example for all of us to follow? Someone who, without being asked, shows leadership, selflessness, and service to their community? We believe that's the definition of a good citizen, and so does Citizens Bank and Trust.
So, if you know someone that sounds like what Jordy was just describing, nominate them to be your good citizen, and they'll have a chance to win $500 from Citizens Bank and Trust. Plus, we'll mention him right here on the show. So go to citizensbankandtrust.com for more details and nominate your good citizen.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Wednesday's AFR presented by Pluckers, Saints, Tigers back on the practice field, and Russ Mitchell joins us to look at SEC East win totals. It's all on Wednesday's AFR. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
So this morning, the executive committee of the LHSAA unanimously approved a plan to move forward with football contact drills. This is, they do these meetings every year about this time, and usually it's just kind of a housekeeping thing. But this year there was some real urgency to it. Eddie Bonine quoted, this is in a piece from Robin Fambro at The Advocate. I get a little emotional about this. This is what our coaches and players have been working toward. I want to start there, Jacob, before I get into the rest of the nuts and bolts of this. You've been a big advocate of what this means emotionally to the players and coaches. You played, obviously. You've got brothers that are in the game. Your sons, I have no doubt, are going to be involved in this as they grow older. So that's the first part about this is you had a lot of relief last week, and it got kind of rubber stamped today.
I think we all know. I think high school football throughout Louisiana, if you played and what it molded you into, and if you have family members that it affects, but we all know how important it is for these activities to take place, and we know how important it is for to be diverse in the groups that you're in. I know for me, that's one of the things that I'll always be grateful. It took me to places that I would not have maybe gone, or those doors would not have been open to me, and the relationships that I was able to have because playing football and being in the locker rooms and seeing different points of view and having just people from all over, all walks of life in that locker room. And so for so many reasons, it means a lot to me, but I'm not the only one. I mean, it means a lot to you. It means a lot to everyone in this room. Everybody in this room, everyone listening can give you a story of what it means to them. I am so excited for everyone, and not only football, I mean, all fall sports, that they're going to have the opportunity, and everything's going to look a little bit different. Not all sports are created the same, but I'm just excited for everyone. They're going to have that opportunity because we don't talk about it enough. The spring sports that got canceled in high school athletics this year, but God, it feels like a year ago, this year in the spring, and the fact that they missed out on an opportunity that they'll never, I don't speak in absolutes a lot, but they will never get back.
So while the LHSAA has gone forward with this, and the head of, the chairman of the LHSAA Sports Medicine Committee is Dr. Greg Stewart at Tulane. He told the group that moving forward with contact is fine, even if Louisiana remains in phase 2. He was even okay with dropping the acclimation period from 21 days to between 10 and 14 days because the teams have already been working out. So this is their expert. Again, this is all in a piece that's done by Robin Fambro at The Advocate, who does a fantastic job of covering high school athletics. However, New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell has said the city's schools cannot participate in full contact while the city remains in phase 2. And we've even seen different phases of phases because New Orleans has remained in stricter lockdowns, even in the same statewide phases throughout the course of this pandemic at different times. We're hearing rumors already that there are New Orleans schools that are looking into, okay, if she's serious about this, can we go down the road and play? I mean, can you get to a place where, I don't know, give me Rummel says, you know what, screw it, we'll go play in Thibodeau.
Yep.
Or if John Curtis says, you know what, we'll take the bus to Hammond. Or if St. Aug says, we'll go play, somewhere on the North Shore. You were a high school coach in New Orleans, and the rest of the state was playing, and your mayor said, not here. What would you do?
Find somewhere. I would find somewhere, and I would make it known that I was finding somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I would broadcast it on every platform that I could broadcast it on. And there's definitely places where you can get it done. You mentioned the North Shore. There's a lot of high school, seems like it pops up every single year on the North Shore. So there's places to get it done, and I would broadcast it. I would, they're being held back. They're being held back right now when the rest of the state is opening back up to the things that I feel are very, very important to the upbringing of the youth in our state.
Are there coaches right now in New Orleans with a map and a sort of a circle, depending on how much money they've got and how much time they've got, how big they draw the circle, say, where can we go practice? Is there a middle school that we can go practice at 15 miles outside of the city limits?
Yeah, you wouldn't have to go far.
Is there a city? Is there a stadium that we can use? Let's say you're in Orleans Parish or Jefferson Parish, and you call, let's say, I don't know, East Ascension.
Yeah.
You say, okay, you got 4 games at home, you got 4 games on the road. The 4 weeks that you're on the road, can we use your stadium, or Sanoma, or Dutchtown, or pick any school between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, or maybe you want to go to the North Shore, maybe you want to go down into the Bayou parishes. Don't think that they're not thinking about that right now.
And don't think coaches aren't extremely tight within our state. If you've ever been to the state championship games,
yes.
when those fellows get together, it is like a fraternity, right? Everybody is so excited to see everybody, and everybody looks forward to that week every single year. So you mentioned something, though, about having the resources to do it. That is something to pay attention to. Some don't have the resources others do. When you start looking at the Catholic League, we're going to have more resources, and they're going to have more opportunities. They can go say, hey, Catholic school, middle school, and wherever, can we come use your facility? And they would have, the means to do it. So some of your inner city schools, would they have the opportunity to do so? That's something to pay attention to. You try not to create a disadvantage for any team. So I would still be willing to bet that every coach has somebody in, because there's so many teams in that area. Every coach has somewhere on the map they know somebody through a friend, or they coach with somebody who's now a head coach at this place that they're trying to call, hey, can we Tuesday? Hey, what do y'all do on Tuesdays? What time do y'all get done? All those calls are being made.
I would think that the time issue is probably greater than the money issue, because I'm with you. I think that if you've got a field, you'll let somebody, a practice field, you'll let somebody else use it. You might even let somebody else use your stadium for, a small cut of the gate, or maybe the security, costs or whatever. But the time, if you've got to get out of the city to do this, do you have enough time? Is it fair to the kids to put them on a bus and bus them 30 minutes each way to practice every day? I mean, they've still got homework. They still got to go to school. They still got all the other things that they've got to do if they're even in, in-person schools, which is a whole other thing.
Yeah, it's going to be, a little bit unfair to them, but it's pretty easy to go from Orleans Parish to go to Jefferson Parish or St. Bernard Parish. It's not, I don't think, the trip that it sounds like. It's just really, it's finding a spot within those parishes and your surrounding areas, right? It's, hey, is there a place, in Kenner that we can, it's finding the field and finding the facilities that you have.
And a couple of people in the Bayou Ford are reminding me that Curtis and Rummel are in Jefferson Parish. Yes, and so they're not subject to Orleans Parish. And I was just trying to get pick your favorite school in New Orleans that's inside the zone that needs to get outside the zone. You have an association and a group of coaches and a group of parents that are trying to get to a yes, and a mayor that, I don't want to get political on this show. We've tried very hard not to do that, but a mayor who's, the first 5 words out of her mouth are no in, rising levels of volume on everything. There's get me to a yes and there's get me to a no. And from what I've seen of her on television, she seems like a get me to a no person. That, whatever we can do to get to a no is what we're going to do. I don't like that. I don't care for that attitude.
I wonder how far these coaches are going to try, because they fought hard, Hanny. They fought hard.
And the mayor's going to know. Okay, so she's not going to take. I wouldn't imagine she's not going to take it very well, them steering around her ordinance. So we'll see what happens.
Oh well. That's fine. I mean, she can be upset about it. And she's got the Saints and all. I understand that. Just the high school teams, it's going on across the state of Louisiana. Allow them to practice at their school.
Yeah.
They're going to do it anyway. They're going to do it elsewhere.
I mean, I don't want to go out of my way to piss the mayor off if I'm a high school football coach, but I also want to be fair to my kids. And everybody else is doing this, so can you work with us here? So far, the battle lines have been drawn out of that meeting. By the way, Eddie Bonine also said that they're still working through attendance protocols, that they're still trying to get to 50%, that they think that they can get to that, but that is not decided as of yet. Take a break. Ask us when we return. Getting the Bayou Ford chat. We got our own random question generator. We'll do that when we return. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny. We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
At Cordell Toyota in Opelousas, you can get into a Tundra for $7,000 off MSRP. That's right, $7,000 off MSRP. And we have plenty in stock. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Cordell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Join us for a Wednesday edition of Game Time with Jimmy Ott and Ben Mintz. The guys are live from Snow's Seafood and Steak, getting you ready for the first weekend of the NFL season. Tune in from 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Ask us in the Bayou Ford chat. Ask us, ask Jake, where'd you get that hat?
So I got off eBay. I am always looking for unique LSU gear. And if I don't get it for free and I have to buy it, I like to get something that's a little bit different. So it's got the American flag and it's a little patch and you can just rip it off. It's Velcro and it's got the LSU logo. Actually changed mid-show.
Okay.
Let's switch it up a little bit.
I noticed it was kind of popping off there.
Yeah. See?
Okay. Ask us, soccer or bowling?
Soccer.
Considering the last time I went bowling, I re-aggravated an injury so bad that I had to have surgery. I'm going to say
don't do
soccer.
that,
I'm going to say soccer too.
Don't do that.
Ask us, do you drink coconut water?
No, it is not. No, it's awful tasting. It tastes like it's been filtered through a dirty boot. No, I do not drink that stuff.
No, me neither. I'm definitely out on that. Ask us, best 80s hair band.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Band? I like Van Halen, not Van Hagar.
I liked Van Hagar better than Van Halen, but that's excellent. Motley Crue.
Yeah, Motley Crue. Really good. Have you seen the Netflix movie? Pretty good.
Yeah, The Dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. The bad thing is I think that probably most of that wasn't really all that bad embellished.
That's right.
Bad. All right. Let's see. No, we don't do Mexican drugs. I think we can.
All right.
Okay. Get us to the random generator.
All right. If you could be a member of any TV sitcom family, which would it be?
Cheers. I mean, I'm going to hang out in that bar for a day. I mean, come on.
That's not a bad one.
That would have been fun. I think. Josh, one sitcom family.
I'm going with Fraser, actually, off of the
Okay,
Cheers
so
deal.
off Cheers a little bit. Okay.
Eddie the
Playboy?
dog.
I'd like to be a member of or a student at Greendale Community College from Community.
Okay. Paulie?
It's got to be Friends, right? Oh, come on.
Yeah, Friends is a good one. I watched Friends while I was getting a haircut.
You can watch Friends 24 hours
Ooh,
a day
Seinfeld.
now.
You
I want to take mine back. Seinfeld.
Seinfeld?
I'm going to a straight family. I'm going to the Bundys. Al Bundy, Polk football. He's going to tell all his football stories. We can share football stories. Seems like the kids kind of have free reign as far as what they want to do. Now, you don't have a lot of money, but that's okay. You don't need money to be happy.
Okay.
I'm going with the Bundys.
Got it. Okay, I misunderstood. Greg said, have you ever experienced the wonders of Mexican Coke? And I said, no, we don't do Mexican truck. He meant Mexican Coca-Cola. Okay.
Oh, boy.
So that's a yes. On my honeymoon, we went to Mexico, and you get Coke in a glass bottle. And if you get Coke in a glass bottle, the simple answer is it's got more sugar in it. And so, yes, we had Mexican Coke, if you're talking about Coca-Cola. I misunderstood that.
I haven't had a regular Coke in over 20-something years, but I'm up to try anything.
I like the zeros.
That's what
that's primarily what I drink. But on my honeymoon, it was Mexican Coke. It tasted like Coke tasted when we were
back when it had real jugs in it.
Yeah, before they went to New Coke. There are still people that will claim that Coke never went back after New Coke to tasting the same as it did.
All right.
Now you're going back into my childhood now.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yes, yes, Mexican
New Coke. Okay, yes. I have to look that one up. I've got one, and I think I know your answer.
Okay.
If you could only say one word for a year, what would that word be? I'm going to assume yours would be yes.
Right.
Very just going to move on from that one. Yours would be yes.
All right. Have you ever been to Cabo Wabo? That's a Sammy Hagar. No, I've never been to Cabo. You ever been to Cabo?
No, I've not been to Cabo.
Wasn't terribly far from where you lived for a while, but just never got down there.
Not gotten down to Cabo.
Ask us favorite midnight snack.
Cereal, all day, every day. I eat a bowl of cereal before I go to bed every single night.
I try not to eat that late, but if I do get something, it's probably going to be potato chips. That just
not a bad one either.
It's easy and it's quick. Ask us: is Flestering dead?
Is Matt dead? Where's he at?
It's your turn to keep up with him.
My goodness, what does he do? I mean, the guy. I don't even have time to talk about what he possibly could be doing. I'll reach out to him. We'll see.
Ask us: do you ride roller coasters? And if you do you have a favorite?
I do ride roller coasters. I'm a big fan of roller coasters, and I don't have a favorite. I am all about it. If it's at a big-time national park, chances are it's a good one, so sign me up for it.
I rode roller coasters all the time. After I jacked up my back, I'm kind of scared to get on one now.
Yeah.
But I rode at Disney's MGM, rode the Aerosmith Rock and Roller Coaster, which is it's inside and it's fantastic. But I did before I hurt my back, went to Cedar Point, which is in Sandusky, Ohio, about 30-40 miles outside of Cleveland, which is the roller coaster capital of amusement parks. Rode the Maverick.
Okay,
fantastic.
I like the Hulk at Universal.
I've never been to Universal, but I've seen that a big green one. Let's see. All right, back to the New York roller coaster in Vegas. I did not ride that one, and I'm certainly not riding that thing on top of the Stratosphere.
Yeah, I ain't getting on top of a building
the thing that
that
hangs
leans you
off.
off.
Forget about that.
Yeah, no, thank you. If you had to work but didn't need the money, what would you choose to do?
Probably this. It's not a whole hell of a lot else that I'm good at. You had to work and you didn't need the money. Just anything that's more enjoyable. I don't know. I always thought it would be fun, and the people that do the grunt work on these things will tell you that it is long and hard days. But I always thought one time it'd be fun to work on a movie set.
Okay.
Just to see how.
What part of it? Any you in costume?
Anywhere that I could watch a talented director work. Work with the actors, work with the camera angles, work with the special effects, work with anywhere on a movie set where I could see a talented director work. I think would be fun. And not necessarily for a career, because I understand the days never end, and it's it's a cutthroat business and it's hard work for the people that have to do the actual physical work. But, one time I think it'd be fun.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't really know if there's anything else I would rather do. I've been able to achieve two of my goals in my life, and play football professionally and then do this professionally. I'll throw it like a generic. Can I be Paul Rudd and Saving Sarah Marshall and teach surfing, even though he's not really good at teaching surfing?
Yeah, something
and live
like
in
that.
Hawaii?
You get that from time to time. What would you do if you didn't do what you do? If there's at one point in your career that you had to take a fork in the road? I'm never good at answering that question. I don't have a good answer to that.
Is there an app that you hate but always use?
No, because I don't download a lot of apps. I gotta really need it.
Okay.
I've got like 3 screens on my phone, and that's it. I'm not one of these guys that's got 50 apps or anything like that.
Yeah, the children download. I'll go Facebook.
See, I don't have that one, which prevents me from having to use it.
Oh, we know what you feel about Facebook. You told us loud and clear. Was that last week, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I had some pretty strong opinions about Facebook. Thanks to everybody for participating today. For Josh Ward, for Paul O'Neill, for Playboy Marty, and Jacob Hester, I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants.